the one to find a way back home. Rain falls 1,000 times, no footprints of come and go. You who once went by, where will you belong? I feel your sigh and breath in the last blow of wind. Not yet for the story on the last page, it's not the end. Life blooms like a flower far away, all by the road, waiting for the one to find a way back home. Time flows across the world, there is always a longer way to go. Till I reach your arms, a melody for you. Up against the stream, waterways will join us one, tracing to the source. No more straight alas, you will see petals fly, where love man becomes carol. Could you please hear my voice that hungers for you? Life blooms like a flower far away, or by the road, waiting for the one to find a way back home. Time flows across the world, there is always a longer way to go. Till I reach your arms, a melody for you.
Guys, you wanna know what this really reminds me of? This really reminds me of a special team. A special group of individuals. I like to call them the Special Avengers. And boy, oh boy, is this some funny ass shit. I'm not gonna lie. It was some of the most hilarious shit this morning to wake up and see all of these posts. Because these guys are legitimately so dumb, it's unbelievable. The amount of posts that I've seen of like regurgitated nonsense that literally gets proven wrong in a quarter of a second is genuinely ridiculous. It's actually wild. The amount of just absolute nonsense I've seen. Why is Morgan here? I don't know. I think Morgan's retarded. Yeah. I think that's the real conclusion out of this situation. Yeah, I think Morgan's a fucking idiot. Yeah. They show up in our chat sometimes, but yeah, we'll probably be making sure that they don't show up here again. Cause yeah, I don't understand how this guy is such an absolute dipshit. Yeah, I'm just gonna be genuinely honest over here. Also, pro tip for Morgan. Not sure why you have YT in your handle when you for sure don't make content. And second, I also don't know why you have Twitter verified for 146 followers. Yeah, is clearly somebody who this is also feeding into the idea that you're a fucking idiot. I don't even know why you're spending money on it. I'm just gonna genuinely be real. What is this verification even for? Like who? For what? What are you gonna make longer than 140 word tweets for your 140 followers? Oh dearie me. Yeah. Bro got that MC syndrome. I don't know what it is, brother, but whenever I see somebody with Twitter verified that has like less than to be honest, like 5,000 followers, I'm just like, what are you even buying that for? What is it doing for you reasonably? What is that blue check? What are you spending that blue check mark on? What if they're a rage baiter as a job? Well, if that's the case, I don't think they're making very much money. But yeah, we'll make sure to take a look at a little bit of some of the stuff going on right now. Yeah. Dude, I had a dream about you and your merch shop where I bought bed shit. Good God. is, dude, was that bed ad really, was it really like that much? Guys, like, it's just, the thing is, I don't even think that ad was like that amazing. I thought it was like okay. I thought it was a pretty good one, but I didn't think it was like that good that it's like it's like residually in your mind days afterwards. But it is what it is, right? Whatever is whatever. But yeah, okay. So I know this is already like a dumb situation, but I just wanted to take some of the time to go into just how genuinely stupid this community and the people on it actually are. Let's just take a look at probably one of my favorite ones down here. Where's that tweet by what's his name? What is this? What is it? Ouroboros? Yeah, Ouroboros is like infinite, right? That's the idea behind the Ouroboros. It's infinite. I have a piece of commentary to say around that. I I do have a piece of commentary to say around that name. Yeah, where is it? I have a piece of commentary to say about this name. This guy is infinitely stupid. If that's the case. Yeah, this guy is infinitely stupid. That's for sure. Saint is genuinely being retarded here. One thing Saint loves saying is proof in a goofy voice. Will I ask him to provide proof of Alto's VA getting harassed? This is the funny thing, right? This is all in a comment thread regarding the actual video itself that we made, right? Regarding the Alto situation. And there are even people in this comment thread over here, right? They're saying that there's no harassment happening, right? They're asking where the harassment is. And it's like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. I'm not even talking about what OFA post. It doesn't even take a rocket scientist to view this as harassment. Like, these guys are all over here pretending that all I mentioned in the video is Ophanat and his hilarious crusade to customer support as the source of harassment. Brother, you read posts like this, yeah, that's harassment. Um I don't really know how people couldn't, like, it's in the first 5 minutes of the, I'm pretty sure it's covered like immediately. Yeah, it's covered in like the first frame of the video. Yeah, yeah, in the first 35 seconds. That's harassment right there. And then second, there's even a follow-up that we take a look at that clearly goes in even more. Seethed Tourist. Wuthering Waves is a harrowing game designed for straight men. Either learn to be a normal VA or keep your fetishes to yourself. Seethed Tourist. That's literally harassment. Like, what? What are we doing over here? We're literally putting words into his fucking mouth and shit. And having him say things that he didn't say. Like, straight up, this is also harassment. And then we're going ahead and we're having people that I think really are genuinely lacking, are genuinely lacking a significant number of brain cells, telling you that there's absolutely no harassment going on at all. And remember, like I said before, they're all saying that it's all about the customer support ticket. When literally, I've already shown you 2 threads from here showing actual literal harassment. This is the thing. Okay, and now we got another dipshit in here. Guys, the amount of people that literally can't read is, or that have absolutely no reading comprehension is kind of impressive. All right, here we go. The Seethed Tourist post is not aimed at James Day, though. Either learn to be a normal VA or keep your fetishes to yourself. This is what I mean when I'm calling you guys retarded idiots. Like, it's literally in the second sentence, but you don't understand that. You have the reading comprehension capabilities of a literal elementary grader. There's no way we're this dumb, right? There's no way we're this dumb, right? Happy Mooncake Day. Hey, appreciate it, Matri. Yeah, I do think we got the Lunar New Year going on. I think actually right now. Yeah, we're celebrating it with Gacha Education Day. Yeah, we're celebrating it with an education day for some of the dumbest members of the community. Fun, fun, fun. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna make another comment. Yeah, I don't think this guy's gonna reply. All right, who's up next? Who's willing to face me in a battle of I guess English comprehension? Pro tip, I do think you're probably going to lose. Yeah, we're probably not going to get many more challengers right now. We're probably not going to get any challengers, right? Oh, he did respond. He did respond. Oh, you respond. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so once again, you didn't actually respond at all. You called me disingenuous, saying that the post is not aimed at James Day, and yet James Day is literally told a literal statement over here. So once again, you actually didn't respond. You just, you were absolutely just completely incorrect about your interpretation of the statement. I called you out, and then you just pivoted to a different subject because you're embarrassed of being, well, this fucking stupid in front of all my viewers. So that's what happened. I don't really know what else is kind of like the point of reading your messages because once again, you're so low IQ. I think it's making everybody in the chat dumber putting your stuff on screen. Is that clear? Is that not clear? Okay. Okay, we got one last statement from somebody who once again, you read out the Seethed Tourist line that was not aimed at James Day and claimed it was harassment. I said the post was harassment. And I read the first sentence of the post, implying that I had faith in my viewers to read the rest of it. But unfortunately, you took me saying this post is harassment and me reading the first sentence as me only saying the first sentence is harassment. Like, this is what I mean. Like, what type of mental gymnastics are you performing right now to try to say that I'm incorrect? This is like I don't think anyone understands what you're trying to say. So yeah, you're too stupid to be in my chat. I'll see you later. Sorry, by later I mean never. Yeah. Hey guys, I only heard what I wanted to hear, and from what I heard, you're wrong. That's the argumentation. I only hear what I want to hear, and from what I heard, you're wrong. What? Like, what the fuck what is the point of that? I didn't listen to what you were saying. I only heard what I thought you were saying, and for what I thought, you're wrong. Like, okay, all right, bro. Hey, that's an insurmountable defense right there. I don't think anyone's winning against that logic. Yeah, I don't think anyone can win against that logic. Yeah. He never focuses on kick. Okay, what's going on, kickers? What's going on, kickers? Are you saying we got a raid? Hey, a kick. Okay, what's going on? Hey, appreciate it, Connorisa. I thought you were on Twitch. What happened? You just moved over exclusively to kick? All right, for sure. Hey, okay. That's why we haven't been getting any of the Twitch raids. All right, appreciate it. Appreciate it. The mod of the Gacha Grail community, by the way. Yeah, so once again, the community is full of weirdos that don't go outside and don't talk to people. Like I said. It's full of people that don't talk to people. Yeah, the community is full of I've already said this before, but 500 years ago, they would have been excommunicated from the village. They would have been sent out to fend for themselves and then forgotten to history. That was the fate of these individuals in this group 500 years ago. And simply modern society, modern regulations have allowed them to have an existence, essentially. Once again, like I've repeatedly said before, that's one of the biggest sins I do believe of modern society. It's the fact that people that, well, the internet becomes a mental asylum. It becomes a refuge. It becomes a refuge for people that 500 years ago would have been fending for themselves off in the wilds, away from the village. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Thank God we're not there anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that there's any point in even addressing these. I think these guys are just simply so dumb. And this is the thing. A fair number of them have been some of my prior viewers. So that's the thing that is a little bit annoying, but at the end of the day, I have no problem at all with losing viewers who have incredibly low IQ. Because chances are they were going to be low IQ. They were going to be low IQ about something else. So being able to have the admission on their end that they're an absolute complete idiot is fantastic, right? Kind of like cleans up a mess for me. So yeah, if, mods, if you haven't yet, you can go ahead. You can permaban Morgan, Morgan Shibal. Sorry, Shiba. Yeah, you can permaban him from all platforms. And honestly, if you find out who any of these guys are, no issue at all with banning them either. Yeah, probably just gonna end up with less work for the mods later down the road because yeah, -1 losers from my chat is -1 losers from my chat. All I gotta do is press a button. I feel like we've seen Oro in chat before. Oh, well, you better make sure you keep that memory keep that memory pristine because you're not going to be seeing that dumb shit again. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. These guys are like out here. I don't like there are some other individuals as well. There's one fucking hilarious comment. I forget it is. I forgot where it is. Where the fuck is where is he? I was showing it before. Oh, here we go.
We will own every CC once they cover us. We can always call disingenuous because they're hungry for content.
Like, bro, their voice is higher pitched than that in real life. You already know that for sure. You already know their voice is actually higher pitched than that IRL. Like, seriously, like, dude, you can tell the person that wrote this spent 50% of their high school years inside of a locker. You can just tell. Like, they've seen the inside of a trash can. They're like more than 99% of the population. They've seen more. Jesus Christ. They got intimate knowledge of the curvature of a toilet. You already know. All right. All right. We can get onto some actual content today. We can get on into some actual content today. You were a bully in high school? No, but I do know what it's like when somebody I do know what it looks like when somebody is eligible for bullying. Yeah, I had eyes back then. Yeah, I had eyes. Can't believe it's been this long. Keep at it. Hey, appreciate it, Linksy. 9 months? Holy shit, 9 months is a long time. Goddamn. Bro was just standing there. Guys, there wasn't actually there was a close to non-zero amount of bullying at my high school. Let me just make that clear. There was a close to non-zero amount of bullying at my high school. Like people just were relatively chill. You want to know why? Because everyone was busy playing games. No joke. Yeah, back when I was in high school, everyone was busy playing like League of Legends and Call of Duty. So that's the thing. No one was getting bullied because of that, because everyone had shit to do. Right? Think about it this way, like the white kids and the black kids were playing COD, also playing all the 2K games. Right? Like all the NBA, Madden, all of those. Everyone else was playing like League of Legends. Straight up. Like that actually was the high school dynamic for a lot of people, so nobody was like doing anything. I'm not even joking. Nobody was fucking doing anything. Like that was it. The worst thing that happened was like a boy made fun of a girl because her makeup looked weird. That was it. That was like the worst thing that occurred. Which is like not even anything. Like, I'm not even joking. It was a civil time back then. The late 2010s were a very civil time. Let's just say that. Yeah, the late 2010s. Because think about it this way. The people that were bullies, or the people that would have a penchant for bullying, or would have partook in that, were instead flaming people on in COD lobbies, or in League of Legends ranked. So there was no reason to actually bully people, because all of those hormones and shit like that were taken out on other potential would-be bullies across the globe. Yeah, basically you just got all the potential bullies to just fight each other in COD lobbies and League of Legends ranked. And it ended up being completely self-contained. Completely, utterly self-contained. So you were one of the toxic League players then. Oh, can you test Brad stuff? Oh yeah, we can definitely take a look at the Brad stuff later. I was gonna cover some of the more important update things, but yeah, we might actually do the Wuwa stuff today too. We'll see. Let me just make sure I have your message pulled up for later. Finish the TD event today? No, I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I'll probably do it later tonight. I'll probably do it later tonight. As I'm doing other stuff. Yeah, as I'm doing other stuff. Yeah, we aren't playing that shit. I'm pretty good. Okay. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we've gotten some more news regarding Wuthering Waves 2.7, the official actual update content. And I'm just going to be real over here. A lot of the stuff in here might seem like some rehashed information, but there's also some new things. And before I just spoil the surprise completely, actually, let me restart this. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Wuthering Waves has finally announced some of the, final details when it comes to the version 2.7 update. And while there are some things that are going to be a complete rehash of what we've already seen on the live stream and some prior announcements, there's some new stuff in store. And a bit of a spoiler warning, it's already led to some initial, I don't know really what else to call this other than some maybe like cautionary doom posting, cautionary like warnings, because, well, it looks like there's a new premium package in the store. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But what I wanted to do was actually take a look overall at what some of the numbers are looking like in this update to see, how the story is actually unfolding, because they've got things like astrite count, some of the rewards, so on and so forth, and we can actually see what's going on over here. So just starting off, you're going to recognize both of these screens. We're going to have the two new main quests as well as the main quest afterlude or after story. One thing that's a little bit suspicious about this is the fact that they haven't released any of the astrite counts for any of these quests, which is something a little bit odd, and I feel like Kuro may or may not have done it before, but it would be helpful to actually know how many astrites are coming from the main quest, kind of like an indication of the overall rewards of the patch, but that stuff's getting hidden. We're also going to have the new echoes over here, which are naturally going to be for the new Sonata set for Galbrena, and, well, the tactical hologram. Right? Maybe main quests just have a pretty traditional, like, astrite count. You already know how much there's always going to be. Same with the holograms, and so that's why they're not showing it. However, as we start moving on and we start taking a look at the other events, well, we've got Lament Recon, Solaris Soldier, the Vampire Survivors, quote-unquote, combat event. That's, once again, it's not a combat event. It's just a minigame. Well, they're going to be showing you all the actual rewards for this one. And I have a bit of a minor, not really a minor, I have a bit of a major complaint about this. If you're a dedicated player to Wuthering Waves, if you're trying to min-max, sweat, get the most progression possible on your account, these are all exactly the rewards that you want. Modifiers and tuners. Modifiers and tuners are essentially the main kind of like piece of upgrade materials for somebody that's trying to min-max as much as possible in the game. And the fact that this minigame that features none of the combat in the actual game doesn't even use your tuners, doesn't even use your modifiers, is one of the most heavy sources of rewards for endgame materials. Is just, I feel like it's just going to leave a bitter taste in people's mouths as time goes on. Hey, to progress in Wuthering Waves, to get better at the combat, to get better gear and all of this, yeah, the best way to do that is to play a bunch of fucking minigames. Tuners, modifiers, echo experience, right? Any progression materials. If that was in a combat event, I'd understand that. I'd actually love that, to be honest, because it would make a lot more sense. But when you're at the point where the best source of progression that you have for, again, your characters and your gear is to go play a minigame that doesn't use any of those, I'm just going to be honest. What are we doing here? This now is getting to the point where if you're like a super dedicated player to the game, you're starting to feel very forced into, to keep the level of progression that you've had in other patches, fully immerse yourself into all of these goddamn minigames. And that's, I mean, if that's the vibe that you want, that's the vibe that you want, right? But I don't want to see this again next patch. That's my take. All right, but I would just say as a whole, this is clearly the main event of the patch. That's why they're showing the asteroid. It's a respectable amount of asteroid, right? 800, but that's just another thing that's going in the line of, well, you're forced to play this entire thing. You have to do it. All right, now we got the login event. So yeah, just the classic 5 limited 5 standard pulls over here. Nothing too crazy to talk about here. And now we got the second login event. A whopping 300 asteroid, so about 2 pulls. Modifiers, tuners, seal tube, shell credits, like all the rewards over here, very achievable, very accessible for people. Now we're going to have the Septimont weather forecast, the parkour event. And that's going to get 400 asteroid and then a bunch of mats over here. You're kind of seeing, right? It doesn't seem like there's a lot of... I'm not seeing some particularly high asteroid counts this patch. It is what it is. Next, we're going to have the photo event. And that one's just going to be another 400 asteroid, followed by some upgrade materials, some gold ones for EXP, and then purple ones for skill mats. Okay, cool. And then Lolo campaign, which is going to be another 400. So this is about 400, 800, 1200, 1200, 1500. So it's about almost a 10 pull. We're just shy. So I would say about 9. I'll count it as 10. That's a 10 pull. That's 15. And then we have another 800 asteroid over here. So that's going to be like, what, 5 pulls? What was the count even at? I don't even remember. It was like it was kind of low. It's at about 20 pulls so far from the events. Yeah, I think I see about 20 pulls from the events over here. Yeah, 20 pulls from the events in the patch. So, yeah, anyone saying that there definitely could have had room for a combat and you know, a nice 400 asteroid combat event, right? I feel like we definitely had room in the budget for a 400 pull combat event. If right now all I'm seeing is 20. It's actually less than 20, by the way, because we rounded up 1500 to 1600. Do recall that we rounded up the 1500 asteroid to 1600. So yeah, it's about 20 over here. Then we're gonna have the limited time drop events. Very neat. I mean, you can't really complain about these. And that's it. that's it for the numbers. Now we're getting into the banners. So I've already naturally said everything that I could about the events of the patch, but as you can clearly see, every single bit of material that you're seeing about like the actual like scheduling and the events and all the stuff that's in this update, it's this is one of the shortest ones ever. And yeah, we just saw 20 pulls, less than 20 pulls at that point. So it is what it is. Now, let's go ahead. We've already looked at the banners. We've already done our analysis. No real reason to look at these further. We already know what the 4 stars are. Let's start talking about some of the new things that are going to be in here. I'm going to be real. Has Kuro Games ever done this before? Has Kuro Games ever put the Pioneer podcast, which has been in the game since version 1.0, have they ever put the Pioneer podcast in, like, their version details announcement? This is how I know there's nothing in this patch. This, you know what? Let's get the link. Let's actually... What I want to do right now is let's get the link. Let's actually get the link for this. Let's see what the last one... Let's see what 2.6s looked like. I want to see what 2.6s look like. Because you know what would be kind of goofy? It would be pretty damn goofy if 2.6s didn't have that. And the natural implication is that it felt like they had to put in something because there was actually nothing in the fucking update. Let me just check over here. Yeah, no, this looks like a similar one to the last time. Let's go ahead. Let's see if the Pioneer podcast is in here. Just to make sure. I don't want to be too presumptuous. Okay. All right. It is. Okay. Just making sure. Just wanted to double check. It is in there in version 2.6. Okay, so this is a pretty consistent thing that they do. I had the thought in my mind that it was getting added in because there was no actual content in the update. But once again, this is something that they typically always do. But, is it like, have the rewards changed? No, the rewards are pretty much exactly the same. All right, now let's get on into the situation that's resulting in quite a bit of a discussion across the community. And let's do a bit of a breakdown for what's actually going on over here. So, the Wuthering Waves always has some bundles in the store. These bundles are typically always considered, right? Some of the more affordable things in the game, naturally you're still paying some cash, but you get a discount, right? It's close to value in terms of like the top-up bonus every single patch, right? There are multiple packages. There's one that refreshes every month, as well as special version packages, right? That are meant to be a way better deal, right? However, Kuro Games has gone above and beyond in the 2.7 update, and apparently they've come out with something entirely new. The Champions Battle Song Collection Bundle. One purchase available in the current version for the price of 20 USD. We got 600 Astrite, 20 weekly challenge supply packs, and 500,000 shell credits. So, there's typically going to be, I think, two sides of the equation when it comes to the discussion over here, right? Some people are calling this pay to win, right? Some people are calling this predatory, right? Some people are calling this to, like monetization that isn't relatively healthy for the game. And my point of view on this is pretty simple, right? This is 2 weeks worth of weeklies, a little bit more than that, as well as some Astrite on top of it. That's not really that much. I'm just going to be entirely honest with you. It's 2 weeks of mats. I see some people in my chat saying it was 7 weeks of mats. Guys, that can't be the case because, once again, it gives you one of these, and you get 3 tries a week, and all 3 give you 3. So that's what it is. 1 run is equal to 3 mats. You get 3 a week. So that's 9 a week. And so this is perhaps one of the furthest actual things from pay to win I've ever seen. If anything, this is a straight up fucking scam. This is a scam. This is a scam. Like, this is one of the most expensive things I've ever seen in the store because you can buy 4 monthly passes for the price of this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the same price as 4 monthly passes. This is the same price as actually 10 pulls at 800 Astrite. And so most of the value of this package, again, it's 1,200 Astrite for the monthly pass. 4 monthly passes is 1,200 Lunite, plus the 4 months of the daily login of 90. So clearly, this is dog shit value. And all this is, ladies and gentlemen, is an opportunity for new whales to the game to catch up on weeklies and build their characters. That's it. That is all that this is addressing when it comes to the audience in Wuthering Waves. It is made for new whales and only new whales. Because you want to know what it looks like from a day one perspective for how many weekly boss mats you actually have. I have basically 90, 80, 70% of my characters built in the way that I want. I've just started doing random weekly bosses. I've got 35 of these just sitting here because I was trying to decide on which ones to farm. I think I can actually see from the menu how many I have as a day one. It won't tell me over here. But the thing is that if you're somebody that, has been logging in repeatedly, right, every single week to do your weeklies, you have such an insane number of these weekly boss mats, you don't actually need to ever be in a situation where you buy any of them. This is, again, the addressable part of the player base when it comes to this package is extremely, incredibly, absurdly small. You fall into basically two buckets. You're a new whale that's trying to catch up on a bunch of different things, or you're somebody that wants to have 20 weekly boss mats on, I think, day one, right? 20 weekly boss mats on day one so that you might be able to like max out the new character immediately, right? I might buy this, right? So that I can have some extra mats for my Galbraina. But I also recognize that I'm going to be able to get 9 of them immediately once the patch drops. I'm going to be able to get 9 of them and then probably level up my Galbraina to the degree that I need her to be, right? Level 8 in the skills and stuff like that. I'll be fine until the next week. Who knows? I might just buy it, though, so I don't spoil myself on the weekly boss, and I could just buy the materials as well, right? I might just do it from that perspective, too, because I'm in a position, thankfully, where $20 is not a big deal for me. You could consider me a whale because of that statement. But like I said before, this is one of the worst packages in the game in terms of value, and all you're saving here is time. You're not getting some other constrained resource that's absolutely insane. You're getting dog shit value in pulls. All this is a literal 2 weeks worth of time savings. And then everything else is essentially a gigantic fucking scam. Right? And this is the thing. It's a time savings to make your character deal about 5%, 5 to 10% more damage. That's the time savings. It's you going from like level 8 out of 10 on your abilities to 10 out of 10. And guess what? You're still going to have to wait for all the skill mats. You're still going to have to wait for all the grinding when it comes to actually spending these weekly boss mats. Because what do you have to do to actually spend your weekly boss mats? Well, you're going to have to go ahead and, well, you already see a bunch of 10 out of 10s, right? You're going to actually have to go ahead and, farm all of these bad boys too. And believe me when I say this, it's going to take you quite a while, assuming, right, that you have all these weekly boss mats available to even have the resources you need to spend them as well. So it's kind of just like, once again, this is a problem that I do believe few people are having, right? And I would say the most annoyed part of the population from this will probably be very simple. I think it's new free-to-play players. I think it's new free-to-play players that are behind on their weekly bosses and would like to be able to build their characters faster. But the thing is, if you're a free-to-play player and you're not spending on any resources at all, no BP, none of that, then you wouldn't even have the mats like this required to even fully leverage those things because you have so many other resources that you need to juggle as well. Think about tuners, all of that on top of it. So it's like, when you think about it, there's not really like a completely addressable part of the player base that has any need to really be upset over here. So when it comes to the monetization of this, I think we thought about it from every single way possible. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, ladies and gentlemen. And so I would just view this as paying for convenience, paying for time savings. And with it being literally the worst value package I've ever seen in the history of the game, yeah, I don't really think we can call this one pay to win. I don't really think that we can say that Kuro messed up. I think it's a scam pack made for those that are, really okay with getting a horrible value, but still supporting the company and then saving some time for themselves in the process. And I think that's all it is. If there was a way to have, like, this is one of the actually better examples of whale monetization I've seen. Because a lot of people hopefully can see how actually functionally useless it's going to be for most of the player base. So yeah, that will be that for that one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought about this breakdown. And of course, about the, well, I'm just going to be honest here. This patch looks a little sad. Let me know what you think about that as well. Peace out. Yeah, I'm just going to be real over here, man. This patch does look like a little bit, like, isn't this, don't these patch notes look depressing? These patch notes look fucking depressing, don't they? One last thing that I need to show for the video. One last thing that I need to show from the video. Because some people are going to misconstrue what's either being said in my chat or something along those lines. There's going to be people that'll misconstrue my points 1,000,000%. So let's just get ahead of that right now. And one last thing that I wanted to do while we're on the topic of Lament Recon Solaris Soldier. Some people, they might see the combat event and the combat event label and they'll be saying, oh, Saint, look at you spreading misinformation. 2.7 actually has combat events. Look at you, you silly goose. We're going to cook you again. And, well, I don't know what type of Wuthering Waves you've been playing, but yeah, when I go into the TOA or I go into a domain, it doesn't look like this. So, once again, this is being labeled as a combat event, and it is literally a minigame. So, I just wanted to make that abundantly clear. Yeah, my holograms don't look like this. My TOA doesn't look like... Maybe yours does, but maybe you also take a look at the taskbar and you realize, wait, I actually don't have Wuthering Waves open. It wasn't the TOA, it was Vampire Survivors. So, that might be the explanation on your end. So... But once again, it's labeled as a combat event. It's not a fucking combat event. Or it might be a combat event, but it's the combat of another fucking game, not Wuthering Waves. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Mia hologram looks like this. You're not actually wrong. Mia's hologram literally goes into a top-down view. It literally goes to a top-down view once you enter the second phase and you cannot see anything. Bro, I'm just going to be honest with you. Everyone is agreeing with me right now, right? That the Mia hologram is one of the worst designed fights in the game? Straight up, right? Like, that is the normal take in the community, right? It's the worst designed hologram in the game. Without a doubt. Because when I played it, right, on the second day of the patch, everyone was making fun of me, right? Everyone was like, hey, look, this guy sucks. I cleared it in 20 seconds. This guy just sucks. Then you guys all tried it, and you were like, don't lie. Don't lie. You guys tried it, and you were like, oh, huh. Ah, shit. Ah, shit. Ah, shit. It's not that good, is it? Yeah, it ain't that good, is it? Oh, you don't like tornadoes spawning behind you? Oh, you don't like insta-kill particles from her attacks that blend in with the terrain? Yeah. Yeah, no, that boss fight sucks. It is the worst one in the game for sure. Yeah, there's literal insta-kill dark tide particles that are the same color as the floor. And if they touch you, you die. They're black. They're black particles of dark tide, and then the floor is also black. And then the arena's dark blue. Like, brother, I'm just telling you, who play tested the thing? It's just, it's so bad. Most of the people that cleared it used Carlotta. I remember when I used the Carlotta, I did her flip, and then I used her second skill, and then she flew into one of the dark tide particles while she was in the air and instantly died. After that happened, I was like, okay, yeah, whoever designed this is literally, they probably had a disease while they were designing it. What the fuck even was that, bro? Whoever was playtesting it definitely had a disease. Oh, they 100% sure did, if that's how it released. They had a disease as well. Alrighty, that's a cool little.
Is Wuwa now pay to win?
You can also think about these videos of as us getting ahead of some potential Doom posting that you already know some people are about to do when they see that package. All right, let me go get that uploaded. Quick thing about Mia tornadoes, you can bait her out of them. I feel like that's I respect that you can do that. I feel like this is such a I feel like this is if the mechanic is this diseased to the point where players are trying shit like this, then it's probably not a very good mechanic. That's my take. If the mechanic is this diseased that people are even at the point where they're trying to do this, it's clearly a bad mechanic. That's my take. If that's how people are deciding to try to game the system because it's so bad. I love supporting Kuro. Hey, appreciate it, Just Dome. Release our YouTube mods from your basement. What's wrong with the YouTube chat right now? What happened? Oh, are we getting spammed? Is this what you're talking about? Oh, okay. Okay, he's out. Who else is spamming? Who else is spamming? It was only one guy, right? I'm literally looking. It was just one guy. So, yes, chat, you were literally getting one guide by one guy. Like, I banned one guy and I don't see any other comments. Yeah, it's one guy. Like, don't tell me there are two. What, there's a second one? Oh, okay, holy back reading. Holy back reading. How far do I need to go? Do I need to go into fucking 2024 to find this guy? Brother. Where is he? Go to the super chat? I don't even know where. I think we're already past the super chat. We're already past it. They left. All right, problems. Hey, problem solved them, right? What? Problem solved, right? Guys, you. All right. I mean, it is fair. I mean, it is fair to say that we don't have our typical YouTube mods on YouTube right now. I guess one of my guys is busy. I mean, it is what it is, guys. I'm not gonna expect people to show up to literally every single stream, all the time, at every single angle. And I'm pretty sure we were good yesterday. Yes, I am very busy. Yes, guys. This is the thing. My moderators oftentimes have things to do. Yeah. I don't think they're fucking dedicating full time to this shit, brother. You need no life mods? Probably. Probably. This is the same guy you banned earlier. Hey guys, you want to know what this person also wrote? Let me show you guys what this person wrote. This is the person that we banned from our chat, right? There's a reason why we did that, though. Take a look at this. Take a look at this tweet that I found. Yeah, we can all agree that the Wuwa community has become even worse than Genshin. Hoyo at least has lots of harmless, wholesome players and CECs, but every single Wuwa player is bitter and toxic. Huh, so we are publicly spreading this narrative, right? And then proceeding to sick our community on the Alto VA in the group that we moderate after making this post. Hey guys, how else can we make this statement true? Oh, let's go start a harassment campaign in our Twitter group to make this statement true. Like, guys, it doesn't take a genius to connect the dots. It doesn't take a genius to connect the dots. Does it? Also, it's a verified account. For how many followers, though? Oh, I wonder why the account is verified. Huh. And so once again, right? All right, what did this guy even post? Saint went on stream again and made some delusional claim that the original "Why can't VAs act like normal people" post already was a harassment campaign. So this is the thing. I'll just repeat my analogy that I said before. And this was a very good analogy. If a kid eating an ice cream cone on a hot summer day spills his ice cream on the ground, that's littering. However, if you decide to go on a crusade to go file police reports and try to get the kid arrested, you're a freak. Sure, technically, you're legally in the right or whatever, right, to do that. But everyone's going to call you a fucking freak for trying to get a kid arrested for spilling ice cream on the street. Much like how we're calling all of you guys who are schizoing out over the Alto VA's joke a fucking freak. Because yes, you're sure you can have complaints about it. Sure, you can have a discussion. But implying that somebody is like not normal or there's something wrong with them for making a fucking joke, then there's something wrong with you. And that's the point of calling it harassment, where you've decided to take something that's not worth talking about, that's not worth really discussing, that's absolutely nothing, and then blow it up and try to turn it into an issue. Like how there's a freak somewhere trying to get a kid arrested for spilling ice cream on the street. Because yes, you're technically right, but you're also technically a fucking freak at the same time. And that's the point. So, I don't know why I gotta repeat that over and over again. I do hope he keeps responding and feeding us new members, though. This is the thing. You guys fed me a fucking video. And I just get to call you guys, like, stupid fucking idiots the entire time. And the thing is, if the situation gets even bigger, then I get to just make another video, again, calling out how fucking weird you guys are. And this is all I need to do. It's very simple. I just need to show this tweet, show the clear narrative that you're trying to paint about Wuthering Waves, and then show all of these concentrated efforts to justify the harassment of Altos VA. It's a done deal. I've already won. I don't even need to do anything. It is too easy. I just show this. I show that there's a clear agenda on your end to paint the Wuthering community, the Wuthering Waves community, as negative, and then show you trying to justify the harassment of a VA. It's a flawless argument. That's basically it. I've already won. I don't need to do anything. Because anyone with any sense of common sense will look at this and then be like, oh, I see why they're acting this way. And it's unfortunate that there's a bunch of dumb shits in this Twitter group who are believing this when this is also public. This is public, by the way. You posted this publicly. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very, very easy. There's clearly a narrative that these guys are trying to spread. They went and started their own Hoyo players started their own harassment campaign against Altos VA. They convinced some dumb shit members of the Wuwa community to jump in like it was some fucking special crusade. But instead of going to the promised land, these guys went to the retarded land. And, like, now they're going ahead and trying to, like, justify why they did it in the first place and how saying statements like, you're being a freak when someone's not doing anything crazy is not harassment. Did you know Gacha Grill mods are all Hoyo shills? I mean, it's extremely obvious. Right? This is one of the mods. If you're publicly posting this online and then proceeding to fuel harassment against VAs and then defending how the harassment isn't harassment, well, what are you doing other than trying to make this statement true? And I can't believe people are buying into it. Like, guys, is this not the most obvious shit you've ever seen? Is this not the most obvious shit you've ever seen? Literally, a new account. How old is this account? How old is this account? When was its first tweet? I'll check it on the side. When was this account's first tweet? June 2025. How are you guys falling for this? How are you guys falling for this? It's a new account made in 2025. You know what? I might just have to make a video now, right? I feel like I just need to make a video now about how incredibly baited this community is getting, bro. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen a group of individuals get baited this hard. Absolutely no verification or research done. Oh my goodness. You guys are getting fucking baited. You guys are getting baited. Oh, dearie me. All right. Well, I gotta... All right. Looks like I'm going through the repository, ladies and gentlemen. This one's just going to be funny. This one is just going to be funny. I can't wait. I can't wait. This is great. This is awesome. Oh, buddy boy. Okay. All right. I think this one's already up. We got Cammy over here schizoing out. What is it? We got this whole thing going on. We got that one as well. It's gonna take a minute for the glue collection here, ladies and gentlemen. But let me go ahead and see. I think I've got some stuff in my history, actually. I got some stuff in my history. Surely there's some shit from good old B the other day. I also wonder, guys, when do you think Little Green over here? I wonder how old this account is. Oh, this account is actually old. Okay, this account is old. This guy's just a dipshit. But, well, you can see when they joined Twitter, though. The age of this account is also kind of suspicious. They joined literally when Genshin Impact launched. I'm not gonna read into that a particularly large amount, but it is what it is. Bro, bro, like this, half of the posts that are getting written over here, it genuinely does seem like somebody that's not mentally stable. I think of the people in this gacha group, and like for certain, I would not want to talk to any of them in real life. That is for sure. I would not want to talk to anybody in that group in real life. I'm pretty sure they got issues, bro. I'm 99% sure they got issues. Good lord. All right. Let me just close up my game for a second, actually, and also pop open my notifications. Then we can get down to business over here. We could get down to business over here. Alrighty. Let me also go back into my history over here. Yeah, we can all agree. Here we go. And don't worry, guys. I've got the exact post myself. How come this post is made right before Altos VA starts getting canceled? How come this post is made like right on the dot, right before Altos VA gets canceled? And then we're proceeding to play as much defense as possible. Right? We're proceeding to play as much defense as humanely possible. Right? Huh. A little bit weird, isn't it? And don't worry, they popped up in here as well. Giving their little special flair. Giving a little bit of special flair to their coverage of the issue. Huh. Interesting. All right. Don't worry. We'll make sure to cover this one in depth. I need to go take a piss. I'll play some music. Can you guys behave this time though? Can you guys make sure I don't regret putting on the music? That would be nice. All right, BRB. themselves are spamming. What do you expect? All right, well, that one's done. That one's done. All right. All right. Are we good? Have we gotten that out of our systems? Are we ready to proceed? Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for us to have a bit of a discussion today about what is actually going on in this Twitter community. Because I'm going to be honest, there is a bit of an issue that's currently plaguing, I think, not just the Wuthering Waves community, but a bunch of gacha communities as a whole. We've got this not subreddit, but this community called Gacha Grail. And I'm going to be honest, when you look at the history, when you look at the posting, when you look at the moderation team of what's going on over here, it is safe to say that the Wuthering Waves community, a good part of it, I'm not talking about everybody, as well as communities from other games, are getting horrifically baited by some of the most ridiculous, and perhaps most importantly of all, non-social people I think I've ever seen in my life. So let's just go ahead. Let's start breaking down some of the issues that have occurred in the space. So the most recent campaign that the individuals in this subreddit, and of course members of the moderation team, have been on, is a campaign to harass Altos VA. They've even gone so far to the point where they've managed to convince actual Wuthering Waves players to do stuff as stupid as send messages over to support about how awful certain behavior actually is. And the worst part about all of this is the fact that we have a lot of individuals that I used to consider actually parts of my viewership and actually parts of the Wuthering Waves community as a whole, feeding into a huge amount of just misinformation, messed up narratives, and just some of the most ridiculous bullshit I've ever seen. So they started off going ahead doing a bunch of different things, right? This is just one of the outcomes, but it's on the record that they've gone ahead and also done some pretty targeted harassment as well, right? This is one of their other moderators too, or if they're not a moderator, there's somebody that's getting their post pinned all the time by the mods, saying stuff like, either learn to be a normal VA or keep your fetishes to yourself. Seethe tourist. Followed by statements like, why can't English voice actors act like normal people? And ladies and gentlemen, we've already done the investigating. We've already done the glue in prior videos. We actually know what was said by the Alto VA. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? I'll pull up the clip. I'll pull up the clip of the Alto VA. Here we go. I hope you guys are ready for this one. We'll just go to the transcript, right? We'll go over here. Then we'll control F, right? We'll control F and then put in canon. Here we go. You ready for this part?
If I get Brant in this 10 pull, it's confirmed, it's canon that Brant and Alto are lovers. If I get Brant in this 10 pull, it's confirmed, it's canon that Brant and Alto are lovers.
a man made a joke. And thankfully, in the video that I've made covering the topic, right, there's been an overwhelming number of individuals, right? I said I was disgusted by the matter. I said I was disgusted by how parts of this community that I don't consider the actual Wuthering Waves community were acting, right? And thankfully, you look at my comment section and you can see reasoning, right? You can see that people are overwhelmingly in support of Alto's VA because what they saw was what the majority saw. A joke that didn't warrant things like going to customer support to ask the behavior to stop. That didn't warrant this kind of ridiculous response from a whole community going ahead and trying to clear up misconceptions, actually get to the root of the issue over here to talk about how everything is actually so bad in this situation. And the worst part, however, is that there are still individuals that are in this comment section, right, that are still making claims like there being no harassment done. You can just look at all of the different responses in this community. Honestly, Saint is just being genuinely retarded here. One thing Saint loves saying is proof, in a goofy voice. Well, I asked him to provide proof of Alto's VA getting harassed, people brigading his socials, insulting him, attacking him. Hey guys, why do you think he privated this video about his pulls? You want to know what one thing this community is celebrating? They celebrate the fact that Alto's VA privated his video. Why do you think he privated it? Why does nobody post a picture of the comments on his video? Why does nobody post a picture of the comments thread on the video that got privated? Oh, probably because, and of course I can't prove it because the video's privated, probably because all of this was happening on that video that was naturally brigaded because it got linked in this fucking community. It got linked in this community and then immediately privated afterwards. And this is the thing, guys. Some people are probably going to view this as view shaming. I'm saying this in the most genuine way possible. Alto's VA has a pretty small channel. They don't upload a lot of videos, right? So they're probably going to be hyper aware of the community response that they're going to receive, right? Considering that they only have 3 videos and they don't really get that many views on them. And that poll video that they had was last seen at about 8K views. And then, well, it gets magically privated afterwards. Huh. I wonder, was this a small YouTuber who got an overwhelmingly negative community response out of nowhere after their video gets linked in one of the most toxic groups I've ever seen? And now they're going to go ahead and say, because the video's privated, oh, I don't see any evidence. Oh, nothing happened. Oh, get proof. Get proof he was attacked. And the worst part about all this, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that in my video, I literally already show the proof of him getting brigaded in the community. Where you're calling him a freak. Where you're saying he's like not a normal person. Where you're saying he's like he's acting out. When all he did, once again, this was the joke.
If I get Brant in this 10 poll, it's confirmed, it's canon that Brant and Alto are lovers.
A goofy-ass joke while on 50-50. Hoping that you win the 50-50. What's even going on here? What's even going on here? All right, you know what? I've realized I've decided I actually want to take a different approach with this one. I've realized that what I'm doing in this video right now is a little bit too much like the original actual video. So I think I'm just going to go in with a bit more of a full frontal approach for this one. Yeah, let me just get down to brass tacks with this one. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do this again. We'll start off with the bombshell statements first, and then we'll get into the glue gathering. You know what? I'm going to restructure this essay. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a bit of announcement. I'm completely fucking that one up. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I have a bit of an announcement to make. If you're not familiar with this gacha community by now, thank yourself, because it is literally the worst one I've ever seen. It is probably the biggest example of astroturfing. It is the biggest example of a community getting manipulated. And the worst part about all of it is that I've been able to identify former members of my community that have unfortunately drank the Kool-Aid. Because one thing is abundantly clear about what's going on. The moderation team of this subreddit is trying their hardest to sabotage Wuthering Waves. And I'm going to take the time today to outline exactly why that's the case and why you need to be, as a Wuwa player that's maybe taking a look at social media, that's maybe taking a look at Twitter posts, why you need to be wary about the absolute nonsense and garbage that is spewing out of this place. So let's just go ahead and get it and just get things straight over here. So this Gacha responses person over here, I've actually banned them from my YouTube this morning. They're a moderator of the Gacha Grill community. And this is what they're on the record saying. We'll read the top sentence and the bottom sentence, right? Because I don't want to get too much into the subjects in the middle. Yeah, we can all agree that the Wuwa community has become even worse than the Genshin community. Hoyo at least has lots of harmless, wholesome players in CCs, but every single Wuwa player is bitter and toxic. Bit of a declarative statement to make, right? Bit of a strong statement to make, just going ahead and renouncing the entire Wuwa community, right? Let's go ahead and take a bit of a further look at what is going on, right? Let's take a bit of a further look at what's going on. This is the same person, ladies and gentlemen, that has been leading the crusade against Alto's VA. This is the same person that's been leading a crusade against Alto's VA to make this statement true. This was posted prior to the harassment campaign that began to try to cancel. Here's the proof. This was posted directly before the campaign to harass Alto's VA. What better way to make a statement like this true? What better way to make a conclusion like this true other than to just actively trigger it and make it occur in the community that you're moderating? There are people, ladies and gentlemen, that were members of my community, that would frequently write in my chat, sometimes type in my Discord, that are going ahead, joining this group, and then believing the absolute nonsense that these complete freaks are spreading around after they're on the record, right? After they're on the record, already spreading this narrative about the Wuwa community being worse than the Hoyo community. And now they're trying to harass VAs at the same exact level as Hoyoverse communities. And when you take a deeper look at this profile, guys, it gets even more funny. You want to know when this account was made? You can tell it's verified, right? Oh, because we want to appear legitimate. Because we all want to, we want to have that clout. This account was made in June 2025. You know what also happened during June 2025? Some of the most ridiculous astroturfing ever seen in the history of the game during Wuthering Waves' anniversary. I'm not going to go ahead, right, and say, oh, this is a Hoyo shill that joined during the anniversary, and so they're running covert operations to try to sabotage Wuthering Waves and make it look as bad as possible. But it doesn't take a genius, right? It doesn't take a genius to connect the dots over here. Make a statement talking about how bad Wuwa is, then proceed to literally make Wuthering Waves look bad by harassing voice actors. And then proceeding to play defense in every single way possible on the take that this harassment was okay. I actually banned this person on stream this morning, right? They were in my YouTube chat. I took them out because they were being, they were doing what they were doing. And this is what they had to say. Sate went on stream again and made some delusional claim that the original "Why Can't VAs Act Like Normal People" post was already a harassment campaign. It's pretty clear that he's just trying to sell that nonsensical Hoyo shill astroturfing narrative to not have to engage with it. And it's not like his opinion matters at this point. So, naturally, these freaks are trying to cancel me as well. So, let's just take the time to dispute these claims really, really, really fast so I can highlight to you the level of manipulation that's actually going on in this subreddit, and why, if you're somebody that believes the nonsense that's being said over here, you are being a genuine fucking idiot. So, let's just take a look. Alto's VA, without a doubt, ended up getting canceled, right? We've already taken a look at it over here. And I called a statement like this harassment, because it eventually led to Alto's VA being literally lambasted in customer support messages. People are like bragging about how they managed to get a one-up on the guy by like reaching out to customer support and then complaining about something that wasn't an issue. Because we've already taken a look, ladies and gentlemen, at what the issue actually is. Are you ready to see what got Alto's VA into this much hot water with these deranged members of the community? I'll play you the exact line, right? I'll play you the exact line.
If I get Brant in this 10 poll, it's confirmed, it's canon that Brant and Alto are lovers.
It's a joke. It's clearly a joke. If you view that as more than a joke, then you probably have something deeply wrong in your life that you need to go get checked out so that you don't hyperanalyze statements like this to such a high degree. That's just the first thing that I'm going to say. It's a joke. But the thing is, people are allowed to be offended, right? And they're allowed to be oversensitive. And they're allowed to be freaks with poor emotional control. And what these individuals have done is essentially make the claim that, A, this clearly kind of fruity guy made a fruity joke as he was on 50-50, potentially lost, and then said, essentially, guys, if I win the 50-50, this character clearly likes me. No, this character loves me if I win the 50-50. Just a zesty dude making a zesty joke about, I'm just gonna be honest here, a zesty character. Do you know how many people actually, like, call this dude gay on a daily basis? I think it's like a significant portion of the population, because let's just be real here. Brant's fruity as hell in his gameplay, and bro has like half the clothing of the other male characters. I'm just gonna be real here, it's not a particularly crazy take to have. He also, like, eats oranges in his idol, so he's literally fruity. And that's the thing, right? These guys have decided to take that joke, turn it into a little harassment campaign, and start saying shit like, why can't English VAs act like normal people? Guys, normal people make jokes. Yes, and normal people who may or may not be a little bit fruity, a little bit zesty, will also make zesty and fruity jokes. That's like how it works. It's not that big of a deal. And these people would know that if they went outside, but they don't. And they continued, right, saying things like, either learn to be a normal VA or keep your fetishes to yourself. Hey guys, is this somebody going out and advertising their fetishes?
If I get Brant in this 10 poll, it's confirmed, it's canon that Brant and Alto are lovers. Let's go. This is my last 10 poll I have without paying money. Please!
He even clarifies by saying, this is my last 10 poll I have without paying money. This is what we're calling a fetish. A level of just misconstruing and actually just actively spreading misinfo about what's going on, to the point where we're saying stuff like this, that he's advertising his fetishes to his audience, is what I'm calling harassment. And if people are at the point where they're defending this degree of a statement to somebody clearly making a joke, guys, you can see it's a concentrated effort across all sides to try to make behavior like this okay. And you want to know what the best part about all of this is? There are people going ahead and trying to make the statement, right? I need to find the actual post itself. I need to find the actual post. There are people going ahead and saying that this is like the issue. That the fact that he has like stuff like this in his thumbnail, that he made statements like this, Brand X also confirmed. And you want to know what this only shows? That they didn't actually watch his stream at all. Read the transcript. If I get Brant in this 10 poll, it's confirmed that it's canon. And look what happens on this 10 poll.
Let's go. This is my last 10 pull I have without paying money. Please! Please! Yes! Please! Yes! Please!
Just check it out. Oh, he got Brant.
Yeah!
Oh, so he actually got Brant too. So it's literally a title based off the joke that he made in stream, because he literally actually got him. So it's just a continuation of a joke. And if you're not able to see that, understand that, and realize it's not a big deal, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you to the point where you can't identify that this is a literal continuation of the joke? That's what it is in the thumbnail. But they're trying to use this as justification. They're trying to go ahead and say that this is a problem. It's a problem if you're not a member of his community and you don't keep up with his content and you refuse to do research to actually try to break down why he would even make this in the first place. It's an entirely in-stream, in-community, inside joke sort of thing. And all you had to do to discover that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll show you how long you had to watch. You had to watch 20 seconds of his stream to know this. It starts at 43:20 and then ends at 43:38, the context that you needed. 18 seconds of context. It was all you needed to know that this is just a joke. And people couldn't do that. Or they did get the context. And when you get the context that this is just on a temple, can't you consider the fact that they spliced his quote, took out the context of him pulling, took out the context of it being a joke, took out the context of it being his last 10 pull before spending money, and that's why he's making a crazy joke like this? Isn't taking out all that context and just making it seem like he's on his soapbox saying that it's canon, isn't that just harassment as well? Hey guys, if you made a statement, I love eating, period. Kids are annoying. And then somebody spliced your sentence, took out the last couple of words, and then quoted you as saying, I like eating kids. How would you feel? Would you view that as probably harassment? Because your full statement was, I like eating. Kids are annoying. And then you get quoted as, I like eating kids. Because that's what happened here. Because he said this entire statement, once again, ladies and gentlemen, with the context of, if I get Brant in this 10 pull, and this is my last 10 pull I have without paying money. Because that's the whole context. But when you splice it like this, can't you call that harassment? Because you're clearly trying to make him say things that he didn't say. It's completely out of context, right? We already listed out the examples over here. But then you got all these guys saying, no, wait, here's the actual analysis. Look, please, it's okay, guys. Keep harassing him. You're actually right. You're actually right. We need to keep harassing Alto's VA. That's the right thing to do. We're going to clear up the misconceptions. Oh, also, this is the same person on the record saying that the Wuwa community is worse than the Genshin one. Right. And then you can clearly see, oh, they're going ahead. And they're trying to, with their very hard, with the most effort possible, make that narrative a reality. Guys, this is an account made 4 months ago. This account was made 4 months ago. It's verified. It's on the record, trying to paint the Wuwa community in a negative way. And now you're seeing them actively go ahead and try to defend the harassment of a VA, out of context quotes, crazy statements like fetishization and all of that. Guys, if you can't identify this as a concentrated effort, there's something wrong with you. If you can't identify this as clearly some level of astroturfing that's trying to make the community look as bad as possible, I don't really know what to say. And the worst part about all of this, right, is you have members. This person's on my Discord. They're probably not going to be on it for very much longer, quoting me and saying dumb shit like this. Like, listen, Sate, Kuro does not support the same-sex character pairing. If he has posted that video on Bilibili, it would have been removed under a day. Doesn't matter if you think it's a joke or real. He posted a video with the caption canon, which literally changes meaning. In fact, you just saw VOD, not the actual video. Yeah, and this is the VOD, and this is why he titled it. If I get Brant in this 10 pull, which is my last one, it's canon, we're lovers. It's a joke. Once again. But because these individuals have managed to package this issue in such a volatile way, in such a volatile goddamn way, there are people now gaslighting themselves into thinking that something actually evil happened. And then they're going ahead and they're saying, guys, look, he privated the video. This video got posted in this group full of people with mental illness. So he 1000% got brigaded in this fucking video. And so that's why he probably privated it. Because and I'm not view shaming over here. James Day ain't no big YouTuber. He ain't got no crazy clout with his 14 videos and his 2.19k subscribers. Believe me when I say this. If he gets even like 10 negative comments, he will know. Because he doesn't, and he gets a shit ton of dislikes and 10 negative comments. He will know. And the thing is, just look at that. It's like, this was a 7k view video, 6.3k view video on his channel where the average viewership is like 4k. Guys, are we beginning to see what's going on over here? I know I've said this a bunch of times, but I feel like I need to keep reiterating myself. And the fact that there are all of these individuals who literally can't see what's actually going on. You got somebody openly admitting to trying to make the Wuthering Waves community look as worse as look as bad as possible right before the harassment campaign for Alto's VA. Literally the day before the harassment campaign, they're on the record saying that Wuwa is just worse than Genshin. Guys, just think for a second about what's going on. Think for a second before you're going to say, oh, I need proof of him being harassed. And think about what type of community you're allowing to dominate the way of your thinking. Because I'm not going to lie over here. It's so pathetic, right, that I go into my notifications. And then I see myself getting mentioned 300 times, right, by my former viewers. Yes, this guy, Morgan Shiba YouTube. I don't know why YouTube is at the end of his name. You know, nobody's actually ever going to, nobody actually will interact with this guy, right? Who's also verified as well for his 146 followers. I think he might have done this in the past couple of days. He's like, I've lost so much respect for the guy. It's insane, right? Another weirdo who I banned from my Twitch chat. Just going ahead being like, is this drama still going on? This is just exposing every CC. And then you got the Special Avengers battle cry in here, right? The most mentally ill parts of the player base. We will own every CC once they cover us. We can always call disingenuous because they're that hungry for content that they choose to lie and be selective when it comes to information. You guys are literally getting spun around by a ringleader who's actively on the record saying this right before they start promoting a harassment campaign against Wuthering Waves' VA. If you're not able to identify that you are actually just getting rage baited and that you are getting manipulated like a fucking sheep, I don't know what else to tell you. You might be too stupid to live in modern society. Just going to be honest, enjoy it. Like this is the thing. All I know for certain is that everybody in this thread, potentially everybody in this community collects disability. No lie. These guys are a net loss to society, 100%. Because I don't know how we can be this stupid to not see what's going on over here. It's a little bit absurd, if we're frankly going to be honest. Yuzuha harasser too? Oh. I mean, it isn't surprising that this person also is also doing harassment in other communities, right? Hey, who would have thought? Who would have thought that this person would also harass VAs in other communities, right? Guys. According to Saint, the Gacha Grail is a community of Hoyoshos who are trying to make Wuwa community look bad by harassing Alto's VAs. This is your mod. This is your mod in that community. What else is it? What else is it other than literally the argument that you're presenting for me right here? So yeah, this is a bit of a PSA. This is a bit of an announcement. This is a follow-up to the Alto situation because I know 1,000,000% this is basically the breeding ground, right? This community is basically the breeding ground of the most misinformation you're probably ever going to see in Gacha. And you need to do your hardest, if you're a member of this community, to either get the fuck out or just educate yourself on who you're being led by in terms of their moderation team. Because these guys are a bunch of schizophrenic freaks who are once again trying to, with their freshly made accounts, their Twitter Blue verification made 4 fucking months ago, spreading these narratives and trying to get these VAs harassed just so Wuwa can be just like Hoyo. So yeah, that's going to be our breakdown. That's going to be the nitty gritty. That's going to be the digestion of this absolute nonsense that I've unfortunately been a part of the past couple of days. I'm wiping my hands of this. I don't think we're going to be making another video on these clowns because hopefully this one's going to cook them completely. So yeah, that'll be that for this one. Let me know what you all thought. Peace. Good stuff. What do you think about this drama Captain Cabinets is quoting? Okay. I'm going to open this one up on the side because we've reached the point where Gacha Twitter is literally trying to fight an online culture war via ships and agenda pushing. We have officially lost our minds. Shit like this is why people start turning homophobic, because they find it insufferable when people force ideals on them so much that they literally start resenting anything gay. Okay, and this is the post that she's responding to. Legitimately, post more Yuri and Yaoi. Invade with your head cannons. Push these people out. Do not ignore and make them uncomfortable. Hey, guys. I think if this is enough to turn you homophobic, you were probably going to be homophobic anyways. I think it's enough to say, hey, can you stop being fucking annoying? Like, this is the thing. I'm pretty sure the proper and normal stance to take is, hey guys, I'm okay with everything, but not too much of something. Everything in moderation. Isn't that just the take? And believe me when I say this is moderation.
If I get Brant in this 10 pull, it's confirmed, it's canon that Brant and Alto are lovers.
That's moderation to me. I find absolutely nothing wrong with a joke statement like this. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Right? If this is enough to turn you homophobic, you are definitely already homophobic. That's what I'm gonna say. If this situation was enough to turn you homophobic, you are already there. Right? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything more for me to say on the matter. This post fell out completely. That was wild. Yeah, it just literally fell out. Wait, when was the last time I talked? When was the last time I was speaking? I didn't even realize that. Like 20 seconds? Okay. What I was gonna say is surely Cass made a take on the matter before, but I mean I can understand her viewpoint over here. She's just saying, like, don't overwhelm people with, like, hella gay shit all the time. Like, it's, like, yes, it's not great that there's people being canceled for dumb shit, for dumb reasoning, but don't make your response to people getting canceled for dumb shit to, like, spam a bunch of gay stuff. I think that's the take, in my opinion. However, I don't think being spammed with gay stuff is enough for you to necessarily turn homophobic. I think that's a bit of a stretch. That's just my opinion, right? That would imply that the opposite is also the case. That like that would imply that every like gay person would be like straight phobic. Because they would just be exposed to straight stuff all the time because that's like, well, that's just kind of the day-to-day, right? That's just kind of like the day-to-day. At least in my opinion, like I would imagine that if you're like an actual gay person, you get exposed to straight stuff all the time. And so it's like you could make the opposite argument that they would start hating straight people because they're exposed to straight stuff all the time. But it's like, I don't really think that's the case. Unless they were, again, already a person that hated straight people. And there are still plenty of people like that out there, but it's just, once again, I don't really see like the cause and effect over here. I don't really see that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, yeah, that's that one. That's that one. That's a fun time. Okay, alrighty. Is Wuwa now pay to win? Okay, and then the next video, we got some manipulation going on. Or really, just the most severe astroturfing I've ever seen, and then the evidence is right in front of people. The evidence is literally right in front of people. Oh, and this is also the other thing that I wanted to address. Guys, there are some people saying that this is a sarcastic post. I don't believe it. You want to know why? I would agree with you if this was... I would agree with the take that this was possibly a sarcastic post if it wasn't made right before promoting the harassment campaign of Alto's VA. Yeah, this is my take. The fact that this is immediately followed by the harassment campaign by Alto's VA, I can't view it as sarcastic. I can't. I can't. It's way too much. It's way too much of a, like, immediate, hey, let's prove this statement right for it to be sarcastic to me. I can't. I can't. And if you're still saying it's sarcastic, well, I've got a boat to sell you. I've got a boat to sell you, brother man. That's called backpedaling. Hey, I'd do it too if I was in a cop moment like this. There were only like 2 people saying it was sarcastic in the chat though, so I'm glad we're getting to this post does have a lot of comments though. This post does have a lot. This video is going so well until you called it a Yeah, you can kind of just see, right? You look at the responses. There's a reason why 98% of them, to be honest, are all in support of the VA. There's a reason why 98% of them are in support of the VA. And believe me when I say this, the only dislikes on this video is from it getting linked in the Gacha Grail community. That is the only source of its dislikes, is it being directly linked to the community and those guys directly going to downvote it. I got literally like 5% worth of downvotes, dislikes within a 30-minute span of time. 5% of the video's total dislikes within 30 minutes. And there was not a significant increase in views during those 30 minutes. So yeah, only 70. Yeah, it's not that much. It's actually very little. That's the funny part. That's how little sway the community has. Yeah, it was a concentrated effort, but it didn't really amount to anything. Let's just say that. Jobless. That's probably the way that I would describe it. Let's also think about it this way, guys. You don't do this unless you have nothing else to do with your life. That's pretty much it. If you're somebody that actively does this, you've got nothing to do in your life. Like you're I don't know what else to say. Like going around making recap posts and shit, you've got nothing to do in your life. Absolutely nothing. What is this? What are these posts? Hey, I don't. Hey, W's over here. Hey, W's over here. One less retard in my community. Bro, still calling it harassment? Yo, hey guys, is somebody taking your quote out of context to make you say things you didn't say? And then proceeding to harass, and then proceeding to farm people calling your employer to correct your behavior? Is that not harassment? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's harassment to splice somebody's quote, remove context, and then rally a group of individuals to go contact their workplace to make them stop doing something that they didn't do. Is that not harassment, ladies and gentlemen, or it is 100%? Like, anyone trying to paint this as not harassment, you're literally you're so stupid, it's unbelievable. Genuinely. Like, you're so dumb, it's unbelievable. To imply that what happened wasn't harassment, when literally I show you a frame of the video about how horrifyingly misquoted and how there's a horrifying lack of context to this actual post that led to multiple follow-up posts harassing the VA. That's what it is. And like, the fact that there are so many individuals who have bought into this narrative that there's no harassment happening. Yo, guys, all I gotta say is I'm glad you don't go outside. Genuinely. I'm so glad that you guys don't go outside. Let's make this recording. And just as a quick follow-up, just so you all know, I am taking a little bit of damage. It's good damage, though, because I don't want these guys in my community from this situation. Just unsub to Clown Tauntas. He makes great guides, but when it comes to dramas, he needs to stay out of it. Like, I'm assuming he didn't actually read Gacha responses in my comment on his video. Why would I need to read responses from the guy that's doing this, and then his account is fucking 4 months old? I don't need to do that. He's clearly an astroturfer, right? And then we got this guy over here once again trying to make the argument that what they performed against Alto's VA in this community was not harassment, when we've literally already identified it as misquoting, mischaracterization, all of that, leading to his employer getting contacted over customer support. Yeah, that's harassment, brother. And of course, right, we're still getting comments like this throughout the community. So like I said before, they're really buying into the Kool-Aid from somebody who's on the record doing their hardest to make this statement as true as it possibly can be. And boy, oh boy, there's been a lot of manipulated parties. Very pathetic, though, once you think about it, being on the receiving end of this. You got gaslit by somebody with a Rosia profile picture. Fucking focus up, bro. This is pathetic. Imagine getting gaslit by somebody with a Rosia profile picture. That's like a minus 1,000 aura right there, bro. That's a minus 1,000% aura right there, brother. Holy moly. All right, let me go find the exact part of this video I want that clip to be added in. English VAs act like normal people. Guys, normal people make jokes. People that VA or keep... He even clarifies by construing. It actually just actively... Okay, yeah, about halfway through the video is fun. Anyways, guys, this is... Like I said before, I don't feel the need to be regularly covering this issue too much in the future. It's just, wow, this community is full of absolute fucking freaks. I don't really know what else to say. Glad that I know now, though, so anytime there's a post, anytime there's like anything linked in my Discord from this community, I can just immediately skip it, right? Oh, mods, can you also ban Augusta Daily from the Discord? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on them posting that shit. Yeah, they can reach out to one of you guys if they, you know, end up finding the light later on, but I don't need to deal with them being a fucking weirdo. Yeah, I don't need to deal with them. Yeah, make sure you ban Morgan as well on Twitch. I don't need to deal with him being a fucking weirdo. Actually, let me go pull up some of the logs of these people. Now that I think about it, I kind of want to pull up some logs right now. Why don't we do that? Good thing Twitch still has those, brother man. Let me see. Let's check it out. Wait, Morgan Shiba's banned? What's his username? What's Morgan Shiba's username? Ah, there we go. Oh, excellent. Okay. Let's see over here. All right. All right. Look at this. 999 messages, boys. 999 messages. Nice ban reason. Nice ban reason. Unfortunate, right? Unfortunate. But it turns out that your actions actually do have consequences. Look at what they were typing before. This ain't even that deep. Can we just move on? Guys, every single time I catch these guys in a position where their arguments are indefensible, I always get the statement, can we just move on? It ain't that deep. Can we just move on? Every single time. Literally every single time. Unban requested. Oh boy. Oh boy. We have an unban request? Okay, all right. I'm gonna need to take a look at this one. Okay,
There we go. Now I see.
I'm gonna need to take a look at this one. What do you mean there's an unban request? That's crazy. One. Okay. It's okay if I don't get unbanned, but I just wanted to apologize for interacting with any post regarding the Saint drama. I shouldn't interact with it. No, you're not getting banned for interacting with a drama post. You're getting banned. Well, you got banned because you were being a complete fucking dipshit. Yeah, that's what it was. And this is the thing, right? Brother, you've been a chatter since the early days. And this is the thing. Hey, I got loyalty to a degree, but if somebody's going to be posting dumbass shit like this on main, dumbass, stupid-ass fucking shit like this on main, because you can't get your head out of your ass for 3 seconds and just look at what the moderators of this community are doing, and you're too stupid to recognize the clear one-to-one with what's going on over here, just looking at the dates, man. Hey, loyalty goes to a slight degree, but sometimes you're too stupid to have any loyalty at all. It just is what it is. And yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Just shocking to see it here, though. Like you would have thought that people that have been watching me for that long would know how I'd interact in these situations. And the fact that, well, let's think about it this way. When am I actually, like, when am I wrong? Let's just be real here. Like, when am I actually wrong? I'm being serious. About ZZZ? Oh, where I made 2 contradictory statements in one video? And then people only looked at the 5-second statement that was a hyperbole, and then completely ignored that I made a contradictory statement in the first minute of the video? You mean that one? Okay, then I'll play the part of the video where I'm right. Yeah, I'll play another part of the same video where I'm right. Yeah, we'll take out the exaggerated part. Wuwa HP changes? That's true. That's true. There wasn't HP deflation, but I said there was because everyone's score was 500 points higher. Okay, that's another example. That one's fair. That one's fair, but let's think about it this way. Everyone thought the same exact thing that I did after trying out the Wuwa. After trying out the new Wuwa. Everyone literally thought the same exact thing that I did. I don't think that there was anybody that said, no, there's no HP deflation. You're lying, Saint. No, everyone thought the same exact thing. Because let's just be honest here. Way more. You got way more score in the next one. But yeah, I mean, other than that, especially when it comes to like these Twitter issues and shit like that, guys, I do like to think that I reflect. I do like to think that I reflect a like normal part of the player base. I do like to think that I reflect in a lot of ways kind of like the silent majority on these matters, where I don't oftentimes make it known how I feel about certain things, but most of the time it's just a live and let live, just like be chill. This is usually the situation. I'm not invested enough to care to this high of a degree. I'm not invested enough to care to this high of a degree. That's pretty much like, I think that's most people. However, I do end up caring when the situation becomes so stupid it's farmable. And this community is so stupid that it's absolutely 100% farmable. It's genuinely hilarious. Like, I can't believe there's so many people getting literally gaslit by somebody who's on the record saying shit like this the day right before they start a public harassment campaign against Wuthering Waves VAs. On an account that was made 4 months ago. Like, these 3 facts alone is enough for you to abandon this community. If you're an actual Wuthering Waves player. Like, that... This is deadly right here. This is a deadly combo. And yet so many people are getting baited like this, like they're a fucking octogenarian 90-year-old motherfucker who's like losing his social security number to like a fucking pop-up ad. That's what these guys remind me of. That's what the people in this community remind me of. Like, God, you guys are dumb. Holy shit, you guys are fucking dumb. Yo, God tier, appreciate the resub, brother. 11 months. 11 months, brother. W's. Okay. All right. Well, that was a fun situation. So, I'm looking at some of the planning that we got right now. I do believe the Galbraina Showcase should be out tonight. I do believe the Galbraina Showcase should be out tonight. So that's going to be a fun one. Yeah, we'll be looking to we're going to be waiting for that one. We're going to be waiting for that one. I've realized that I just prefer reacting to the video piece by piece. I ain't going to do that shit where I like watch the entire thing without speaking. Fuck all those guys who complain about that shit. Go watch the original video yourself if you want to see somebody watch it without talking. Like that's the thing I realized. I was like, why am I listening to the feedback of these people asking me to just play the entire video first before commenting on it? And then I'm like, this is so retarded. Why don't you just watch the video then if you want to watch it uninterrupted? Why don't you just watch the fucking showcase yourself without anyone reacting to it if you don't want to hear somebody react to it? Yeah, now that I think about it, I don't even know why. Like, sometimes you gotta take suggestions from your community and then wipe your fucking butthole with them because they're stupid as shit. It's almost been a year hanging out with you, Saint. It has been awesome. Everything considered. Looking forward to 12 months. Hey, appreciate it, brother man. Appreciate it. Yeah, we started actually regularly streaming, I would say, in like November, December, actually. So yeah, it's actually been it's been a long ride. It's been a big one, to be real. All right. You are not wrong, but your pause time was a little cancer. Okay, what are you watching the video then for, motherfucker? If you're gonna complain about the pause time, go watch the actual fucking vid. Don't watch my reaction. Go watch the actual fucking video because you're watching my reaction to see my pauses. Why the fuck else are you not just watching the regular video then? What? That's the point of my reaction is for me to pause and talk about it. It's fucking self-defeating. Hey, appreciate everyone announcing their resubs. Yeah, we started a bit of a train over here. Appreciate it, brother mans. Appreciate it. Oh, man. Well, I do have to say, ladies and gentlemen, hey, we were in a content drought, but the content drought has miraculously, right, solved itself because now I have stupid idiots that I can go make fun of instead of playing Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail or Zenless Zone Zero. So we might have to wait until mid 2.7 for the Hoyo Day because, well, activities have somehow conjured themselves in front of me for me to go spend time on instead. I'm not even joking. Like, right? Like, that has occurred. Without a doubt, that has occurred. Hey, appreciate it, Fluxy, for your membership. Thank you, Peeba's love. So, yeah, like, hey, it just happened, bro. It just happened, man. Did we actually fix our stream elements bot as well? Now it's like, now people can actually see their stats. That's crazy. I remember that shit was showing like 0 days. Like 0 hours for like the day 1 people. Damn, we got a lot of 11, 10, 9. Has spent 1 day, 5 hours. One day, 8 hours? I feel like that one is old. Or like that one is not updated. Hey, I appreciate it, Tron. 1 day, 15 hours? That doesn't even sound like a week. That's like less than a week of like my streams. It started counting it recently? Okay, I was about to say, like, that's some wild fucking shit. Yeah, that's counting nothing. Yeah, the watch time one is definitely a scam. Yeah, that one ain't accurate. Hey, sorry, YouTube chat. That shit don't work for you guys. Yeah, blame YouTube for having the most dog shit, like, chatbot integration I've ever seen in my life. That shit is trash, brother. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. All right, guys. We've got quite a selection. And I wanted to put it up to chat to decide which video we want to watch regarding Hoyoverse griefing their older games or Hoyoverse being creatively bankrupt. All right, we got 2 options over here. Let me see. We got 2 options over here. We got a Smack Sand video, which is how Hoyoverse has officially given up on their older games, or B, the undeniable
During
proof
2020.
That Hoyoverse is create. Oh wait, this thing is fucking old. Yeah, wait, this shit's way too old. Yeah, we might just watch this Smack Sam one instead. Yeah, that shit is way too fucking old. That's like 3 weeks ago, brother. That was like 17 months. That was like 17 years before Odd Cry. The illusion of choice. Okay, then we might have to add some additional juice. Genshin Impact devs. Okay. Wait,
Let's see how Gacha.
Can you guys stop stealing my titles, please? You guys mind not stealing my fucking titles? Thank you. Can you guys go for some other creative wording instead of just quoting what I've already done? They learn from the best. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Hey, they call me a pioneer. Hey, they call me a pioneer. Why is it that everyone is copying my YouTube titles? You want to know what the best part is? ZZZCCs are copying my YouTube titles too. ZZZCCs are copying my YouTube titles and thumbnails as well. Like, this is like, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of threw me off that Kate came in with something like this, right? Hey, that kind of throws you off, don't it? Kind of throws you off to see him doing this. All right, but he's actually got a video about how agent buffs are could be a massive problem in Zenless Zone Zero. That's interesting. I was thinking about watching it, though I don't know how much in detail he goes or like how many diagrams and stuff. Unfortunately, this just kind of seems like a yap session that isn't his focus, so we might give it like a shot. We might give it a bit of a shot, but we'll see. However, these ones do look pretty solid. Ooh, the dislike ratio on this one is kind of demonic. The dislike ratio on this one is kind of demonic, if I do say so myself. So, I know Smacksan has a lot of haters in his community, and I kind of want to see if these are justified or not. That's the ZZZ portion of his community. I think that a lot of people are cognizant of the fact that ZZZ's community is not that great. There's good parts to it, just like every community, but there's a lot of just overall negativity when it comes to like the game as a whole, stemming from its most like dedicated players. So yeah, without a doubt, I'll say that's the case, but that's pretty much just like every game, right? It's just, there's a higher number of them in Hoyo games because they breed so much of like that parasocialism with like the characters and shit like that. And let's just be honest here, ZZZ's character designs kind of appeal to a lot of weird people. You see the number of people that are like, oh, I can't wait for the idols. And I'm like, okay, you fucking freak. Yeah, it's stuff like that, right? It's stuff like that. This dude hates ZZZ. If you guys still think I hate ZZZ when I'm out here actually batting for you guys way too often to be a hater, let's be entirely honest. I'm out here trying to protect you guys from dog shit character designs. Dog shit character designs and fucking, what's it called, spending events to uplift your banner results because Hoyoverse can't design characters properly. I like Yadari design. Yeah, that's because you have a specific genre of like fucking NSFW art that you really like a lot more than others. That's why. You fucking... You're the one... Yeah, that's because you have a fetish. That's why you like fucking calamari Yijuan. When did you think it was about you? This is your message. Are you retarded? Let me just extend this out so we can see the whole... What do you mean? How did you think it was about you? I'm talking... Am I a fucking mind Brother, this is the thing with Fluffy. I feel like Fluffy thinks that everybody he's talking to can read his fucking mind. Through the fucking internet, through the computer screen. How would anybody know this unless you make that clear? You couldn't handle my mind? Well, clearly not, because you're like, you fucking... Bro's out here. Like, that's... I'm not gonna lie, that entire interaction seemed oddly schizophrenic. That entire interaction seemed actually schizophrenic. It's like, I actually said these things, but I actually didn't say them, but I thought I said them. I know I did say them. Why are you confused? That's what I bet your internal monologue sounds like. So yeah, I don't think I can handle it. It's literally schizophrenic. Or I probably could handle it, but I don't want to because it sounds like a fucking chore. All right. All right, we're going to go for coffee cup number 2, BRB. All right. We got more music. Back. Do people enjoy typing gay? I'm pretty sure you already know the answer to that question. I'm pretty sure you already know the answer to that question. It's a given. It is without a doubt. It's without a doubt a given. Okay, all right. Let's get all these external windows closed. Alrighty. Let's give this a bit of a look. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we have another video from Smack San RB on the screen. And to give a little bit of a history about Smack San, I've actually seen the start of his journey, right? From primarily being a Zenless Zone Zero creator into being more of a general gacha creator. And one thing that they've done is share their lens of criticality when it comes to Hoyoverse games. And I'm just going to be honest over here. This dislike ratio is looking kinda diabolical, accompanied by their title of how Hoyoverse has officially given up on their older games. And I'm not gonna lie, this statement over here is something that I've taken quite to heart after seeing how the end games, power creep, balance, kit design, they've all been on the downtrend when it comes to this company's most popular titles. So I already have a take on the matter. I want to see whether or not these downvotes are justified from what he has to share. I want to see whether or not these downvotes are justified from, well, what he has in the video. So let's go ahead and without further ado, give it a bit of a look.
Hoyoverse has recently announced another brand new game at TGS, which is called Petite Planet. With Honkai Nexus Anima just being revealed in May of this year, let's be honest, this is the fastest they've ever pumped out new titles back to back.
I heard Honkai Nexus Anima looks like shit. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I saw a bunch of like reused assets. I think I saw like outfits from like Honkai Impact 3 in like their 2016 AFO. Like a post-apocalyptic, a post-Honkai story, like that one. I saw like reused designs, like a bunch of just reused assets, and a game mode that literally just looks like TFT but worse. So I don't feel like a lot of people are excited for that one. So I'm not surprised that they released news on their Animal Crossing knockoff instead.
But while this might sound exciting for some, we gotta stop and ask, at what cost? Because when you look at the state of Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero, it's hard not to feel like Hoyoverse is quietly abandoning ship. They've been on cruise control for months now, letting these games burn while they build new IPs in the background.
I think some people could have some arguments to make against the burning, maybe specifically when it comes to like Genshin's story. Because I heard Nod Cry is like, there's a lot of not great parts about it. Things like, you know, the level 100, the lunar reactions, all of that. But I heard the story is finally actually going somewhere. But I really do feel like that's not actually what's going on. I think what happens in Nod Cry in 6.0 is simply this. Natlan was just so horrifically bad that something that's just okay looks fantastic. The Genshin community's basically just been getting fucked by how awful Natlan's main quest, characterization, all of that, Mary Sue, Mavuika, all of that goodness, right? For the entire past year. And now that they're experiencing a story that isn't complete dog shit, they're saying it's the best thing ever. That's my take on the matter, because as far as I know, almost every single CC I've seen on like the lore side, all of that, they've all said Natlan is a convoluted piece of garbage, at least when it comes to the story. And, well, there are people still insulting it to this day, and for good reason.
So today I wanted to talk about what feels like a pattern, a cycle that's becoming impossible to ignore. Hoyoverse has been expanding faster than ever before, and don't get me wrong, new IPs are cool, but when your current games are struggling this hard, it's fair to question whether the expansion is coming at the cost of the quality and care we used to expect, because let's face it, Genshin isn't the same as it used to be ever since Natlan. Genshin has just been on a downtrend recently. Honkai Star Rail's story is butt cheeks, along with their increased predatory practices.
Yeah, if you're saying Amphorius is a good story, I'm just going to be honest with you, man. I think somebody took a look at the timing of Amphorius. The current runtime of the story is about 40 hours. I think it's 38 hours for the story in Amphorius, from 3.0 to where the current patch is. No, I'm not playing that. No, I don't think anyone's playing that. If the story is so overwhelmingly long that it literally takes me, like, I could play for 2 whole days without exiting the game, and I'm still barely done with it, that's too much. It can't be a good story at that point. It has to be bad, because you're taking so fucking long to communicate what could be summarized in probably 1 paragraph.
And crappy gameplay loop. This drove the players away in the 3.x series, and Zenless Zone Zero feels like they're trying to hang on for dear life, while inflation, silent nerfs, crappy character designs, and uninspired story rams their player base from behind.
And I think the biggest part about ZZZ in particular is I'm not even that upset about the end game anymore and the HP inflation. I actually think, like, you know, that's naturally an issue that I think the CCs of the games are taking on themselves. That's why there's been so much content directly addressing that by the biggest ZZZ CCs, which is awesome, by the way, because they're not sponsored. Kate the 7th, as well as Average Leg Gamer. You should give them a look. They're both not sponsored by Hoyoverse, so that's why they're pumping out so much critical content recently, right? Oh, what a shocker, right? And the other thing when it comes to ZZZ that I just find to be so baffling, right, is just I've already shown the thumbnail, right? But it's, or I need to show the thumbnail. It's this. It's this. Let me just show you guys exactly what I'm talking about over here. Perfect. What is ZZZ doing? So, in this thumbnail, I pretty much perfectly encapsulate what the hell is just wrong with the designs. What the hell is wrong with, like, where the game is going. They're releasing whatever the fuck that thing is on the left. I don't know what that's supposed to be honest. I don't know why it's even in the game. There's never even been shit like that before. They just decided to add it in for fun. And then they proceeded to release Lucia in the next patch, where if you just recolor her a little bit, her design is literally exactly the same as Yijuan's. It's literally exactly the same. And just so you know, these 2 characters, the ones on the right, they're supposed to be used in the same team. Yeah, Lucia is a Yijuan premium support. So it wasn't enough that she looks like an identical recolored clone of Yijuan. They're also both on the same team.
So why now? Why push 2 brand new projects around the same time and not use these resources on their previous games? But before we dig deeper into this video, if you've been enjoying the content recently, make sure to subscribe and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any future videos. Also, my community Discord is pinned in the comment section down below for those of you that want to join to say what up. Now, without further ado, let's get into this.
Okay,
back in May,
nice plug.
Hoyoverse announced Honkai Nexus Anima, and not even 4 months later revealed Petite Planet during Tokyo Game Show. What's really shocking is how fast this is happening. Historically, Hoyoverse takes its time between launches. There's usually years in between each big project. Honkai Impact 3rd came out in October of 2016. Genshin Impact was released in 2020. Honkai Star Rail came out 3 years later in
It's because the quality of these games are lower. Honkai Nexus Anima, like I said before, it's a bunch of reused assets. They're literally using models from old Honkai Impact 3rd 2016 game modes. They're literally just like ripped Blade model from HSR. There's a lot less going into these designs. They're literally rehashing probably old designs and reusing a shit ton of assets. And then the game in the background, this looks like dog shit. Right? Like, for a game that's releasing in 2025 or this looks like shit. Right? It's a bunch of, like, chibi models and stuff, right? So it's like, you know, there's, like, I'm not going to go ahead and say, okay, maybe the word shit, it's an art style that some people might like, but it's an art style that undeniably does not require a lot of resources compared to the graphical fidelity that they would have in a game like Honkai Star Rail or ZZZ. So it's no surprise at all, to me at least, that these are releasing kind of like rapid fire a lot faster because there's less work being put into them. And subsequently, they do just seem like cash grabs because of that. But that's just me.
2023, then Zenless Zone Zero hit in 2024. So with this trend since 2023, we're quite literally seeing Hoyoverse spam new games faster than ever. With just a little over ZZZ's 1 year mark, we're now already seeing 2 new games in development that looks like they easily could be released next year. Now, let's be real here. At this current point in time, I think it's fair to say that this might be the weakest state we've ever seen Hoyoverse in. All 3 of their major titles are struggling in one way or another. People are tired of the BS that Hoyo has put them through, people are catching on to the repeated cycles, and people are starting to put their focus into other games. It's like each of these games are just coasting by, running on autopilot. There's no real push for innovation or passion behind these updates anymore. Hoyoverse seems to be focused on keeping the lights on, rather than actually pushing these games to thrive the way they once used to.
I mean, it's pretty simple, right? The fact that they're kind of the fact that they're nickel and diming the players of these games to such a high degree, to the point where it's like, okay, oh, the ZZZ designs are dog shit. Nobody likes these designs. Oh, okay, just throw in a 180 pull spending event on the exact version where these dog shit designs that everyone has given severe feedback that they fucking hate. Let's just put a spending event for 180 pulls on a character and design that people actually like to accompany that event, instead of just making good designs in the first place, right? Then you got all the other games where you got Genshin, and then you got HSR, where the end game literally is just not possible. They added Stygian Onslaught and Anomaly Arbitration. You just can't clear them. Even with like S6, E6, M6, C6 characters, right? You can't clear them unless it's the right C6. It's the right M6. It's the right E6. And so it's just like, you're getting nickel and dimed even after you even have max constellation characters, because you didn't max constellate the right character. And I think the most insulting part about this whole anomaly arbitration garbage, right, is just embodied by the channel of none other than the biggest HSR shill himself. You can just, like, look at this guy's channel over here. Right? You can look at this guy's channel, look at the videos. He 3-stars it with his free-to-play team because he pulled the right units. And then has previous videos where he's using E6 S5 and they can't clear because it's not the right E6 S5s. But if you pull the right units, basically, you pull Evernight for the new mode, oh, no problem at all. You're clearing easy, brother. And that's kind of like the thing, right? That's how balanced these game modes are. Fuck your E6. Screw your past expenditures. Make sure you just pull the newest unit and you'll be good to go in our new endgame modes. And that's how it is in Genshin as well. It's kind of nuts once you think about it. Literally, it's paywalled content at this point. It is actually genuinely paywalled content. If you don't have this unit, you don't get to clear this endgame mode.
Now, here's the thing. This strategy might work in the short term, but long term, it's dangerous. Players notice when you stop caring. And right now, communities across all Hoyoverse titles are more vocal than ever. Across all 3 games, people are seeking change that still hasn't been answered, with in some cases spanning over months and years, especially for Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. Some complaints still haven't been addressed, which in turn are driving these games downward.
I mean, let's just be honest here. Is there any excuse anymore for Genshin still having weekly talent boss mats? Is there still, like, they had that survey, right? Oh, let me just look it up. They had that survey. I remember. These guys are so goofy. They had that survey 7 months ago where they directly talked about everything wrong with the game and gave the exact methodology for how to fix it. Right? And then they proceeded to do nothing with it. This was 7 months ago. Where they ask you if you're satisfied with the fact that weekly bosses are completely randomized, right? The drops. Where they asked if you would be like, okay. Let me just see over here. They know exactly what is unsatisfactory because they've already received the player complaints and they did nothing with this. Oh, wait, they added a quality of life where you don't have any weekly bot or you don't have any talent restrictions for the first 2 weeks of a character's banner. So they added quality of life regarding this. It's free, but only for the first 2 weeks of a character's banner. Oh, is it 1 week or is it oh, it's only 1 week? Oh man. Okay, never mind. They made they added the quality of life, but it has FOMO. What the fuck? Oh, sorry for showing the better game.
Instead of reinvesting profits into making these games better, refining systems, listening to feedback, Hoyoverse is choosing to fund entirely new games. It's like you own 3 houses, all of them are falling apart, and instead of fixing the leaks, you're buying 2 more properties across town. Sure, it looks ambitious, but eventually you're just left with a bunch of half-maintained homes. And that's where the frustration comes in. Imagine if they didn't do this. Imagine if the resources going into Nexus Anima and Petite Planet were instead redirected back into improving their current lineup.
Well, this is the thing. The resources that are being put into Petite Planet and the resource being put into Nexus Anima, well, they've already been spent on Genshin and ZZZ and HSR. Haven't ZZZ and Genshin both gotten the TFT mode? They both got into TFT minigame. That was the beta test for Honkai Nexus Anima's entirely TFT-based gameplay. So, they're not only ignoring Genshin, HSR, and ZZZ in terms of actual meaningful content, they're simply using those games as a staging ground to beta test their new titles as well. So it ain't just the fact that they're ignoring the gameplay loop, they're also butchering the event cycle, the content in the patch, to use it as a guinea pig, to use the player base as a guinea pig. Yeah, to use it as a beta test. That's wild once you think about it. They're fucking you in more ways than just one with this garbage.
Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, all these games could be in a much better state and completely thriving. Only if more resources were put into these games, feedback was answered, and change was made.
And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, the Wuthering Waves community, in my opinion, should be so against getting your content in your games, in your version updates, diluted by minigames. Because this is why. Because you can clearly see that it doesn't, like, having an inundation, a flood of minigames in your game never leads to anything good. Because these devs just end up abusing minigames as, like, a way to test out features that you're probably not gonna fucking like.
We're not asking for miracles, just effort. Hoyoverse has the money, they've made billions across these games. It's not a matter of capability, it's a matter of choice. And the choice they're making right now sends a clear message. They're focused on expansion, not refinement. So for those of you that are Hoyoverse fans, now's the time to be careful with how much you invest into these games. Now, don't get me wrong, new IPs aren't inherently bad. Nexus Anima and Petite Planet might end up being great games. To be quite frank, if they pulled off a Gacha Animal Crossing and made it good, I mean, all the power to them. But I can't ignore the pattern. It's a cycle. They build something great, milk it, plateau, and move on. But eventually, players are going to stop following. I mean, we're seeing it now more than ever. Players are leaving Genshin after Natlan, people are fed up and leaving HSR after 3.x, and ZZZ, well, ZZZ dropped the ball quite literally after the game dropped because they thought it was a great idea to have players in TVs more than combat. But
players in TVs more than combat, and then I'm just going to be honest, guys. They have the worst story in all the Hoyoverse games. ZZZ's story is so horrifically fucking bad. It's the main reason why I quit the game. ZZZ 2.0 and 2.1 were so horrifically bad as a story that I just decided to stop playing the game because the story was that fucking bad. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. And again, hey, we're going to have to go with the tried and tested, right? The Classico. Oh, brother. Just so you guys know, this was 2.0's launch. And following 2.0's launch is the period of lowest viewership in the game's history. The lowest viewership and engagement in the game's history is within 1 month after 2.0. If you are not convinced yet that 2.0 onwards has been one of the biggest fumbles in the gacha space, I don't know what else to tell you, because the game was literally more popular in every single way prior to the update. This is the worst performance of the game in its entirety, in its history. And it sucks that I have to say that I was right. But the thing is, there's just so much stuff in this game that the developers have completely fucked up. And you'll still have players denying that miasma's bad. You'll still have players saying that the character designs are good. You'll still have people saying that the story is amazing and that it's peak. It's just you guys saying it. Everyone else thinks it's all been trash. Everyone else thinks it's been complete trash, brother. And it's one of the saddest downfalls I think I've seen in the space, because everybody is doing their best to try to deny what's going on, but the numbers do not lie.
But regardless, you get my point. It's getting to the point now where people can genuinely start questioning why should they get invested into these games when you know the quality is just going to tank within a small window of time.
And that's the thing. It's a little track record. I don't think Hoyo realizes what type of track record they've developed in 2025, where you see 3 of their flagship games getting run into the ground, literally, in so many different ways. And it's the same symptoms in every single game. Brother, they've built up a reputation for fucking up their end games, for fucking up their stories. Literally, like, destroying veteran players with power creep. It's a reputation. And you can identify when it's happened in every game where players, their prior investments have been invalidated. Hey guys, what if I pulled Argenti and Honkai Star Rail? Better go shove his spear up my ass, because that's the only thing he's going to be fucking used for, because you know he's tier 17 in all of the game modes. What if you're somebody that pulled Hu Tao on the most recent banner? You're not going to spell her name H-U-T-A-O. It's going to be W-H-O-T-A-O. Because who the hell is that unit? Go pull Mavuika, dumbass. Oh, wait, you didn't know? Go fuck yourself. And then you got ZZZ coming in, where they made Anomaly the top of the meta for an entire year. And then instead of just releasing characters that can compete with Anomaly agents, DPS-wise, they said, fuck it. Let's just nerf all Anomaly characters by increasing the build-up required in all the endgame modes to trigger anomalies, so that they all feel weaker. All of your past expenditures are literally being devalued live by the devs because they don't want to balance their game properly. In all 3 of the games.
Then Hoyo gets up and goes and starts making a new game. To me, there's absolutely no point. And honestly, if you're still a Hoyoverse fan right now, I'd be worried. Not because it's wrong to enjoy their games. I mean, all the power to you. Genshin, Star Rail, ZZZ, they were all great games at one point. But the reason I'd be worried is because it's becoming clearer and clearer that Hoyoverse doesn't view these games as long-term homes anymore. They view them as projects, temporary stops on the roadmap to the next big thing. Maybe they're like you guys and they're making these games in hopes they might blow up like Genshin did. Maybe they have a gambling addiction too. I don't know. If you've been around since the early Genshin days, or maybe year 1 of HSR, or maybe even that 1 to 2 month window for ZZZ during patch 1.3 and 1.4.
Yeah, 1.4 was good. Yeah, 1.4 was a good ZZZ patch. Unfortunately, it's been absolutely downhill ever since December of last year. That was the last, like, actual good patch that was in ZZZ.
You probably remembered how passionate the devs seemed, but now it feels like they stopped trying to grow these games and started treating them like cash cows. It's like they're trying to see how much more money they can milk out of their player base until they fall flat. And that's why it's so scary as a fan. You invest time, money, energy, and yet the studio that you're loyal to is already halfway out the door, eyes on their next shiny thing. If this cycle keeps repeating, hype, neglect, abandon, then where does that leave you all? Why should the player stay loyal when the loyalty isn't being returned?
There's no reason to be loyal. Loyalty in the gacha space is entirely based off of what you're getting content-wise. And that's it. That's why I've been so vocal about my dissatisfaction towards Wuthering Waves' recent content. Because I don't need to have loyalty to a company, right? To that level of a degree where I just let slide mediocre content updates that are not satisfying to the player base. I don't need to let that sort of shit just like not be addressed and not be talked about when it literally is one of the biggest misplays that the company is currently doing. The lack of actual meaningful events in the game and just login simulator and minigames. That's been Wuthering Waves for the past 3 updates. Login simulator with a 4-hour minigame every update. Alongside story. That's it. And it's kind of rough because it's beginning to make these feel, it's the update cycles are beginning to feel like I'm playing fucking HSR.
That's the question all of you should be asking yourselves. There's also a risk of Hoyoverse burning out their own brand. And honestly, that might already be happening.
It's already happened, like I said before. The reputation for Hoyo ruining their endgames, ruining their game balance, and ruining your past expenditures is already there. It's already formulated. And you have so many evidence points that you can plot across this past year that makes it ironclad.
Back when a new Hoyoverse title was announced, it meant something to everyone. Something that the whole gacha community used to be hype about. It was rare. It was an event. You'd see massive hype, fan speculation, entire communities forming around the game before it even dropped. But now, it's starting to feel like a routine, and suddenly people are just simply burnt out with Hoyoverse. And the more they dilute their identity with these half-effort games, the harder it's going to be to get players truly excited about anything.
I think that Nod Cry is actually going to have a tremendous fall off. My take is that I think they're going to be able to utilize nostalgia and actually like honing in on the old storylines with like Alice and Varka that they've left marinating for like 4 to 5 months. I genuinely think this is what's going to happen. You're probably going to have the release of Alice and Varka, and then I feel like it's done. I feel like people are legitimately just hanging on to get like that last story thread resolved. And then afterwards, it's done. Legitimately. I think that's actually the main reason why people are staying. Because it's the sunk cost of the time that they've spent on this game's story. And they feel the need to see at least some of these plot points to their conclusion. Because they've already spent the last 5 years of their life following it. And they don't want like those, once again, guys, this will be like why people watched the final season of Game of Thrones. You already knew the series was cooked in season 7. If you were like a true Game of Thrones watcher, you knew the series was actually done partway through season 7. You know the directors threw in the towel that it was not going to be good. but everyone still watched season 8. Even though it's the worst ending in like TV history, they all still watched season 8 because they had spent the last 6-7 years watching that journey and they felt they needed to see it to its conclusion. But I'm going to be real. I think it's the same exact thing. It's like a Game of Thrones level of commitment because you've already spent 5 years, and so you kind of just feel the need to keep seeing out Nod cry until you finally get news about Varka. You finally get news about the Hexen Circle and Alice and Durin and all of that shit. But afterwards, after those plot threads are done, oh, brother, I think it's going to be really hard for people to stay.
These games don't really feel special. It feels like desperation.
And the thing with Honkai Star Rail is that HSR, unfortunately, didn't develop enough of a sunk cost before phoning it in. That was their issue. HSR needed more years of like not dog shit story before they started phoning it in. But they started with Amphoria. They thought Penacony was enough to build up the sunk cost relationship in their player base, but it wasn't. And so that's why so many people quit in 3.0, because I think Hoyoverse really heavily misjudged how invested people were in the game.
So yeah, seeing Hoyoverse announce 2 brand new games this quickly isn't just surprising.
And when it comes to ZZZ, yeah, there weren't enough people playing the game because of the TVs for there to be much of a sunk cost in the first place. Because I guarantee you, so many people quit ZZZ in like the first 3 updates. It's almost unbelievable. Genuinely. I actually think so many people quit ZZZ within the first 2 to 3 versions. It's almost uncountable.
It's concerning. It tells us where their priorities lie. And sadly, it's not with the community that built them up. And honestly, I think we've reached a point where players' trust in Hoyoverse is at an all-time low. You can feel it in the community, man. Back when Honkai Star Rail was first revealed, or when Zenless Zone Zero dropped the first trailer, everyone was hyped. There was that buzz, that feeling of Hoyoverse dropped something new, it's gonna be lit. But now,
it was so different. Honestly, think back to March of last year. In March of last year, guys, we were still in Fontaine. The Fontaine storyline had just concluded. HSR was like in the middle of like the first couple Penacony patches, so people didn't realize it was dog shit yet. Acheron had just come out. ZZZ hadn't launched yet. Isn't it crazy how much of a change 1.5 years has made? We were in Fontaine, motherfuckers. In March of last year. The best region that Genshin had ever had. Followed by the worst region that Genshin had ever had in Natlan.
now with Honkai at Nexus Anima and Petit Planet, that energy just isn't there. People aren't excited. A lot of people already written these games off. They're simply just tired. They're looking at these announcements and can already see the massive nightmare these games will eventually turn into. And that speaks volumes, because when the audience stops celebrating your reveals, when the name Hoyoverse no longer guarantees excitement, that's not on the players, that's on the studio. They burn through so much goodwill that even new games, which should feel fresh and exciting, are now met with skepticism. That's the
And that's the thing. That's why ZZZ actually launched in one of the more powerful positions in Hoyo history. Guys, think about the context of ZZZ launching. You had just come off of Fontaine. People didn't realize Penacony was trash yet. The sky was the limit for the game. I actually see why now the devs were so overconfident when it came to ZZZ and refused to listen to 3 beta tests. 3 rounds of beta tests of all the players saying the TVs were dog shit. They had 3 rounds of beta tests. Every tester said the TVs were trash. But Hoyo was so confident from the success of Fontaine, so confident from the success of Penacony, that they thought they could just ignore all the beta testers. And instead, the player base basically just boycotted the fucking game and everybody quit. And the devs realized, man, I guess we should have actually listened. And then they removed TVs in 1.4. It just took them 6 months of development to do it properly. When, once again, it should have been done prior to its launch. Honestly, and I feel like there should be like, you know how there's like the Marvel what ifs? Like, what if Ultron actually won? What if everyone turned into a zombie? What if Hoyoverse didn't have their head up their fucking ass and just removed TVs from ZZZ prior to its actual launch? That's a good what if story that I would like to see.
Damage they've done to themselves, and once you lose that spark, once your community stops believing in you, well, it might be time to pack it up, brother. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Petite Planet succeeds, but not Honkai Anima Nexus. That's some straight copy and paste BS. But realistically, these games shouldn't shine at the cost of Genshin, Star Rail, or ZZZ. Because no matter how delusional I think these Hoyo shills are, these diehard fans shouldn't be the ones getting the crappy end of the stick. What do you guys think? Do you feel like Hoyoverse is spreading itself too thin, or is this just the natural evolution of a studio this big? Let me
I think it's an awesome video.
know in the comments. I'm curious to know what you all think, as I do typically read all the comments. But if
Yeah. Awesome video by Smacksan over here. And the thing is, bro's just spitting, right? Bro is undeniably spitting. And I would say the main thing, the main issue that I feel like some people would have had with this video is the fact that he doesn't show some of the more like concrete examples of what he's talking about happening. But that's why our reaction is so long today, right? We 4x the time of the video so that we can provide those examples and, you know, speak into more context exactly the things that he's saying. Because he's not lying over here. He's just a little bit unspecific. But everything that we just talked about, right? It's all happening. You can find the proof. You can find the documentation of it. And these games are undeniably going downhill, and they're going downhill fast. And that's what Hoyoverse is known for nowadays. Taking their games, growing them as much as they can, and then when they can't grow anymore, they throw in the towel and just start milking the player base as much as they can instead of making the game better. It is what it is. It's a sad reality, but at least now you know, so you don't waste your time investing in another title from this company. So yeah, that'll be that for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. Peace. That was actually a great vid. There's a reason why I like watching Smacksan vids, because he's actually very well spoken, and he's vague enough that I can yap off of his points for like ever, and it's actually a good add to his video. Yeah, that's why, because he is correct. He's just not, he doesn't list out every example, but then that lets me do it. So yeah, it's pretty good. We got a good business relationship. We're like a factory. Pre-watched? Nah, not pre-watched. Not pre-watched. Good vid though. Good vid. All right, what else we got over here? How agent buffs could forever. We also got the Gacha DG2. This stole my title. Bro literally stole my fucking title. I'm kind of mad. What are you drinking? Coffee. Coffee. Sevi's quick review of 1.3 on Twitter. I know she's been loving the game. Let's just see over here. Does she have the correct take? Does she have the correct take? Let's see. Okay, holy shit. I was not expecting the Black Shore's quest to be that good and that intense. Okay, she has the right take. Slow start, but it ramped up so well about halfway through. I love the themes of the story, the conflicts and the plot points, the cinematography, and even had some banger lines in there. The music, in love. Yeah. I'm still saying, 1.3 has the best music in the game. I'll still tell that to you. The next time we hear Shorekeeper's theme in the story, it's going to pop off, brother. You know how in 1.3 Shorekeeper turns into a butterfly to like save Rover? I'm telling you, we're about to hear we're going to see Rover like die. And then we're going to hear like Shorekeeper's theme, and then like her butterfly is going to come over and like save him or some shit. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I feel like that might occur. It'd be cool. It'd be actually neat if that happened in 2.7, and that's how like the Black Shores ends up arriving to the scene, right? Rover loses the fight against Leviathan, but then Shorekeeper and the Black Shores squad starts coming in. You see like Camellia flying in on her fucking helicopter. She just starts like laughing and shit. She probably, people would think she's on the Threnodian side if Camellia showed up. That's they would think Camelia's on the Threnodian side. That would be funny as hell. Honestly, I kind of want, I would love to see that interaction, right? Where she's so crazy they think she's evil. Anyways, and Shorekeeper, did not expect to see a whole sci-fi romance film unfold before me. I'm surprised they went with such an explicitly romantic dynamic between Rover and Shorekeeper, since people like to self-insert into gacha games, and this can be too confining for some gacha players. But I loved it. They weren't shy about it, and somehow it didn't feel forced to me. That's most people. It did come on a bit strong at the start, but at the end, I feel like the emotions were earned and not manufactured. Hey! Again, I think that this is actually the take from the majority of the player base, and this is why I say, to this day, starting from Wuthering Waves 1.3, this game was basically what everyone was saying 2.0 was. I'm still baffled at the idea, right? I'm still baffled at the idea that 2.0 was suddenly this game that just changed everything. No, you just didn't come back during 1.3. You only came back during 2.0. You just didn't come back during 1.3. That's why you're saying 2.0 is like the best version ever. And I'm still telling you, the day ones that started at 1.3, well, you know that was the pivotal moment. Because why is it that everybody that started the game late and then plays 1.3, they all say it's fucking cinema? Every single person that ended up playing the game for 1.3, right? That played the game during 1.3, they all said it was cinema. Don't forget. So this is the thing. I'm still confused. I'm still confused to this day about why Cap was crashing out about 1.3. I'm still confused to this day. I think I ended up asking her at some point, and I think it was like about like the ending, and it was just like, oh, good God, good God, what's going on over here? I still remember that. Actually legendary crash out. Actually a legendary crash out. All right. Let's take a look at this one. Let's take a look at this one. This is recent enough. Yeah, this is recent enough. And then we'll explore what else we can take a look at. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we've got the Gacha DG2, my favorite monotone gacha content creator, back at it again with another video. And it's pretty clear that Gacha DG has been taking some inspiration from me when it comes to the title of this bad boy. Just a very simple 5 words: Genshin Impact devs gave up. Oh boy, can't wait to see what this one's all about. Because one thing that the Gacha DG2 is doing is something that I'm not doing. He's actually playing the Natlan updates. Or sorry, the Nod Cry updates. So why don't we go ahead and see what he has to share regarding, well, why this situation, this title, is taking place. Let's get right on into it.
Let's see how Gacha PvP is doing. Yep, we're right where we should be. I can't wait to spend $20,000 on the next units so we can stay ahead of all the trash. I know that might be sarcasm, but don't say I didn't try to give Genshin its flowers.
Not gonna lie, I think bro's been working on the monotone. No joke. I think he's trying. Hey, I'll give him recognition if that's what he's trying to do. I can see the effort if that's taking place. It does look like he's trying to be more expressive with the voicing. W.
I did say there were good things about the game, but soon Genshin Impact is going to get to the point where characters might as well have an expiration date on them. Genshin Impact is the model for the gacha industry, no matter how much you love it or hate it. So whatever they do, everyone else will follow.
You guys know Nahida, right? Considered one of the most future-proof units in the game, almost required for Dendro meta. Yeah, they added Nahida C2 into just Llama's baseline kit. Just so you know.
In fact, this would be the perfect time for the Genshin Impact dev team to get their shit together, because for once, it seems like the interest for Wuwa is pretty low, at least in the media. So let's ask ourselves a question. How does Genshin Impact capitalize off of the interest for their biggest competitor being this low?
Did bro basically make a video on how the Genshin devs can capitalize off of the failures of Kuro Games in recent updates to Wuthering Waves to have anything to do besides play a fucking minigame and the story? Is that what he's referring to right now? Awesome.
By requiring you to skip rent once a month when your favorite character's partner comes out? Oh, wait, don't.
Okay, so yeah, never mind. He's not going over the solutions. He's basically just saying everybody sucks right now. This is like those Reddit threads where people are asking, am I the asshole? No. The answer is ESH. Everybody sucks here.
Don't worry, you can pull a C1 to make him viable without this robot that nobody wanted. So that's right. For all of you that forgot to theorycraft that an EFA would be required for a DPS that was coming out in the future, all you have to do is pull for an extra copy of him. No big deal, right?
The way that these banners are designed, you actually have to engage with leaks, otherwise you waste pulls. I've realized that. You actually genuinely need to look at leaks. Otherwise, you will end up... Like, imagine if you pulled, instead of Escoffier and Skirk, you pulled Skirk and Anefa. Your account is, like, bricked. Like, legitimately, you are fucked. If you did Skirk and Anefa instead of Escoffier Skirk. Imagine if someone did Escoffier Anefa. Or Escoffier Flynn's. Or Flynn's Skirk. You're fucked.
Right? And you might as well go for that weapon while you're at it. Oh, and I'm not done yet. He needs a Nod Cry unit too.
This is the thing about why I can't even necessarily fault Genshin CCs for covering leaked content, because otherwise your viewers will just brick their accounts. If they don't do that, if you don't have further knowledge, it's like, hey, yeah, this character's completely fucking useless in the present meta. But by the way, yeah, in 2 months, they're going to have their best DPS come out.
With Wuthering Waves being on its back foot recently, this game has had a serious chance to earn back some of their audience. But the devs refuse to address some of the aging problems in this game. Genshin used to get so much praise for its 4-star roster, and it was well deserved. Kujou-Sara used to be a great 4-star option for Raiden, if not the best back in the day, but it doesn't matter because the Archon got power crept into oblivion. And
Now your Archon, who is meant to be the main DPS, the main DPS Archon, Raiden Shogun, because she got the giant sword and she's able to cleave continents in half. You want to know what she's been reduced to? She's a Hyper Bloom applier. Yes, you press E on her and then switch to the next character. You don't even press the left mouse button or the ultimate button. All you do is press the E button, then move on to the next character. That is her use case.
we don't want to buff Archons because then how are we going to...
She's actually less interactive than Zhongli. Because if with Zhongli, you gotta make the crazy gameplay decision of holding E to make his shield pop out, right? With Raiden, you can't even hold the button. You just do a light tap and then you're done.
Sell this random character we've never heard of up until a month ago. And the worst part about 4 stars not having pity is that Genshin will probably never change this.
Oh yeah, and then I forgot, but he was listing it over here. This is who Raiden Shogun is getting power crept by, so. Yeah, that's your new god, I guess.
Ago. And the worst part about 4 stars not having pity is that Genshin will probably never change this because they might make even more money off of this than they do the 5 stars.
Agreed. When you look at some of the 4-star designs in Genshin, oh boy, I hope he lists out a couple examples.
Really dedicated players are going to continue to pull on a banner even after they get that limited 5-star because certain team compositions need a C6 4-star character. It's no coincidence that some of the most recent ones, being Chevreuse and Yansan, are pivotal in certain team comps.
And before, they did the same thing with other elements. You got Chevreuse for Overload. You got Yansan for Electro and Overload as well, to be honest. And then you also had a Nemo Pharazon C6. And then you had, for Geo, Goro C6.
Genshin is about to get into a problem that Star Rail has had for years. A vertical investment dumpster fire. C1s are already extremely powerful, or even just fixed character restrictions. I first noticed it whenever Natlin first came out with Mualani. I got 2 in my first 10 pull, by the way.
But I was like 30 pity.
Let's go. No way! But her C1
Bro was such a nerd back then. It wasn't even that long ago.
is an absolute game changer in not only damage, but exploration QOL. The overpowered C1s started even earlier than that when Nuvalet released. And a character like Chiori literally has her kit fixed by her C1.
Chiori and Ryodzly. Honestly, we thought it was bad when Chiori and Ryodzly had parts of their kit locked behind C1. Honestly, it was better back then. It was better than whatever kind of clusterfuck for sort of like dual DPS support combination you need nowadays. Jesus Christ.
If you have realized how crazy the damage increases and now even the QOL enhancements are that these new constellations get, and you see these new constellations having bigger incentives to pull also because of level 100, I'm sure you can see where this is going. Genshin and HSR have been bouncing predatory ideas off of each other for a while now. HSR has ridiculous power creep and HP inflation. Genshin completely blows up 4 years of balance on January 1st, 2025. Genshin introduces a useless whale endgame mode. HSR releases anomaly arbitrage.
Oh, but anomaly arbitration isn't a whale endgame mode. Look, Mr. Pokey cleared it on his free-to-play account. Look, it's not a whale mode. He cleared it on his free-to-play account. Just, if that's the narrative that you're gonna go for, just make sure you don't watch this video. Don't watch this one. Right underneath me. Don't watch that one. And also don't watch that Acheron E6 S5 failed video. Just don't watch those, okay? Otherwise you might be in some trouble if you're trying to reconcile this one. Just a bit of advice for the shills out there.
HSR creates characters that literally require their eidolons to last longer than a month. Do you see where I'm going with this? Speaking of shit that nobody asked for, is anyone excited for user-generated content?
Crazy made it, where you at?
Hey guys, today I wanted to log into Genshin Impact. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into Genshin Impact and not play Genshin Impact.
Who the fuck is you, bro?
Now, granted that the UGC is a legitimate sandbox mode, this could be pretty good for Genshin. But let me ask you a question. Would you rather user-generated content or Genshin Impact solving 90% of its problems right now? Exactly. People play this game for what they've been seeing for 5 years. Well, you're being so negative. Why can't you just give them some credit? Because Genshin can solve most of their problems right now in one update. You're telling me that they can't update the resin bank and get rid of condensed resin?
This is how we know the Genshin devs could solve it all in one update. Because they sent you out a survey 7 months ago asking basic shit like, are you satisfied with the time limit on acquiring talent level up materials and weapon? They know what's wrong with the game. They know literally all the solutions, how people are feeling. They know exactly what needs to be changed, right? They list it out over here for you in plain English. They could, on a dime, fix everything in these games immediately, but they're simply choosing not to. And instead, they're going to put FOMO behind all of this shit. They're going to make it so that when you condense resin, you have 20 left over, so you're re-incentivized to log in again. Instead of just adding in fucking, oh, I don't know, reserve resin when you're regenerating while overcapped. But that game still doesn't have it after 5 years. These guys all know exactly what's wrong with the game and how to fix it, but they just don't want to fucking fix it because they found a way to monetize the fixes. They're monetizing the fixes or adding FOMO to them instead of just fixing them.
Get rid of encounter points, make all domains open all the time, remove stamina outside of combat, give pity to 4 stars, buff older units, and add artifact loadouts.
And the crazy thing is, we're not even asking for more ambitious shit, right? Like,
Oh, can you remove the 50-50? Ooh, can you make the weapon banner guaranteed? Ooh, can you give me a Lamborghini for free?
right? We're not asking for shit like that. It was like, 90% of the solutions are just like, can you make this game seem at least a little bit more modern? Can you just do what you do in ZZZ and HSR in this game? That is like the extent of the requests. Can you just put what's in your newer titles in Genshin Impact? That's the ask. Because guess what? Hawkeye Star Rail has a skip button too now, bucko. And it actually is like a usable one. Not that dog shit in ZZZ that's trash. That you can't even skip dialogue with. All you can skip are cutscenes. The things that you actually want to watch that are voiced in ZZZ. HSR skip button is better than ZZZ's. I don't even know. Like, that is the part that baffles me, to be honest.
I didn't even get to all of it, but I just think it's interesting how they had all this time to make a whole sandbox mode and they can't click a couple of buttons to make the game 50% better.
Oh, but they're all on different teams. It doesn't take a team of people to just take that fucking locked mechanic for talent mats and just delete it.
Anyways, regardless of that, the UGC does look pretty interesting. What this tells me is that they look at themselves like a Fortnite who knew they couldn't live off of the hype of their release forever, so they created more avenues to experience their game. They've actually had a lot of success with it, considering a lot of the younger generation picked up Fortnite in recent years. But the difference between a game like that and Genshin is that dev team listens, maybe a little too much. So given that the UGC isn't brutally monetized like the main game, then we could be looking at something that could breathe new life into Genshin. And I'm sorry for saying ZZZ had the worst boss design I've ever seen, because that title might actually have to go to Genshin Impact. Do I need to remind you that there was a tutorial on how to climb these abyss pillars without Natling units?
Bruh. Bruh.
I feel like that's one of the iconic moments from my channel is when I said the game had racist pillars. When I said the pillars were racist.
They were making you do tech that you had to go research in order to interact with the game mechanic. It's already bad enough that they've created artificial difficulty in the Spiral Abyss, but their ideas for a quote-unquote new endgame haven't aged well. In fact, the Imaginarium Theater recently just got updated, and sadly, they forgot to just remove the entire game mode. Instead, they decided to add a new mode with my new least favorite word, lunar. And anytime anything endgame related is added into Genshin at this point, you should know to brace for impact, because it's about to be complete bullshit.
He's not wrong. They've decided to, for some odd reason, design bosses where if you don't use these lunar reactions that are only available in Nod Cry by pulling on the new characters, by the way, they're new, so you don't have them on their accounts. You're going to have to buy them and spend money for them. By the way, you can need those characters that you need to buy and spend money on to fight the bosses. Otherwise, they're like functionally immortal. Much like how if you don't have Skirk and Escoffier, they have this one Natlan boss that's literally immortal. Because you need to apply so much cryo that he turns useless. Otherwise, he's immortal.
Compared to the previous hardest mode, Visionary, you need to use 6 more characters on top of what was already required, which has us at 28 units required. And then if you want extra stat buffs, you're looking at 32 units you need to own. So you know what that means.
Wait, so I need to build 32 units.
In a couple years, they'll require you to have the whole goddamn roster to even walk into the theater.
Bro, they're just going to have a new game mode where if you don't have all 13 Fatui Harbingers, you just get kicked out of the game.
By the way, this isn't even talking about the elemental restrictions yet, because remember in the Imaginarium Theater, you can only use characters from a certain element. It would be great if there was actually more of an incentive to pull older units, or just getting more pulls in general. And remember, a good build takes weeks or even months to get. Even if you spend thousands on this game and you have characters already built to challenge this mode, there are still restrictions like boss mechanics being completely RNG. At least make the end result easy for people who are funding Nexus Anima for you. They need to make an endgame that free-to-plays can access instead of just a race against the timer. Oh, did I mention we need more pulls? It's funny that people say you don't need certain characters to make other...
I think that the game just needs to go back to whatever the fuck it was doing in Fontaine. That's my take on Genshin's endgame and design and all of that. As far as I'm concerned, Fontaine was literally the best time in like Genshin history, from like a story, events, gameplay, and balance perspective. Where Farina released and then she proceeded to usher in one of the most healthy metas the game has ever had. And then now it's the worst meta the game has ever had, where 90% of the roster is literally unusable.
Units work, but they also don't understand that as the damage ceiling gets higher, that literally becomes the case. These new DPS characters come out with actual incomplete kits that can only be completed with their partner. Do you realize that at the rate Genshin is moving now, Mawika will get power crept fairly soon? I know, it sounds crazy, but it will happen.
You know what I actually think happened? I think that Genshin Impact actually saw what Wuwa did with Spectrofrazzle, like Zani and Phoebe, and they were like, why don't we just do that with everybody? Somebody at Hoyo Studios, why don't we just make every character a Spectrofrazzle character? We'll make millions!
Especially when Columbina is finally released. Considering how well Mawika did, why don't they just do it all over again? Columbina will be the best character in the game by shattering the damage ceiling. She'll only want Nodcry characters on her team, and she'll be released alongside her partner.
I mean, you already know that's what's happening with fucking Cyrene. That's what's happening with Cyrene. That's what's gonna happen in Genshin. You all know what I bet's gonna happen to ZZZ? You're gonna have that fucking Yu Shungung, whatever her name is, the new Void Hunter, and she's gonna have a passive that's like, if you have two other 2.0 units on your team, she deals a 9,000% more damage. Yeah, if you have the Yunkai Summit teammates on her team, she deals like 500% more damage. She does? No, she doesn't. She's not. Her kit's not out yet. Stop lying.
This isn't even theory crafting either. It's just common sense because that's how they've found the most success. And I'm sure if you're a dedicated free-to-play, you'll let me know if I'm wrong. Because I know you look at leaks. I'm not blaming you because you literally have to in order to plan your pools.
He's not wrong. You have to look at leaks to plan your pulls in Genshin Impact. Like I said before. Because they will release the support who looks kind of constrained, and then the DPS who interacts perfectly with that support, like fucking 80 days later, 40 days later, they'll release the DPS. And this is the thing, guys. I'm glad that Wuwa doesn't do that anymore. But the thing is, actually, even in the one instance where they did it, it wasn't even that bad. You want to know why? Because it was Chikona and Kartithia. But you already knew what Kartithia's kit was while Chikona's banner was live. So it's like, it wasn't even that big of a deal. Because Chikona wasn't first phase. She was second phase. And so you got Kartithia's kit details while Chikona's banner was live. Guess what Escoffier was? First phase. And so by the time Skirk's details came out, you didn't know. The banner was already gone for Escoffier. And Nefa, also first phase. Flynn's is second phase of the next update. So it's even a longer span of time. But there's no way you could have known that Flynn's was supposed to use a Nefa unless you looked at leaks or leak fueled content. So yeah, even in the one instance in Wuwa history where you could think about it, didn't happen.
But you shouldn't have to do that in order to be able to clear endgame content. Genshin Impact has had a pretty good story recently, but the storytelling is still awful, and I don't think they'll budge when it comes to that. This is pretty much just a story game for a free-to-play at this point because they refuse to fix basic problems that could be solved in 5 minutes.
I mean, that's what it is. I've said that Genshin HSR are story-based games, and then you pay money to unlock the endgame. They're free to play if all you're doing is engaging with them casually, But if you want to play the game at any degree of like a meta level, engage with any of the end game modes, you better start paying or you will not be able to, or get very lucky in the gacha.
Nodcry plot can only carry them so far, so I'm sure they'll stretch out Nodcry and Sneznaya as long as possible to nickel and dime you for as many years as possible. There is still
I think that they're gonna milk Nodcry and Sneznaya so hard. We're about to get, think about it this way, we're about to get Lunar, we already got Lunar Bloom. We're about to get Lunar Overload. We gotta get Lunar, what's it called? Lunar Swirl. Forgot that one. What about Lunar Freeze? We need Lunar Freeze. You can't forget about that. Lunar Melt, Lunar Vaporize, Lunar Superconduct, Lunar Crystallize. I forgot that one too. Lunar Crystallize. Then we're gonna get Lunar. Yeah, we're gonna get Lunar reactions. Yeah, because they're gonna make a Lunar version of the existing Lunar ones. The sky is the limit. The sky is the fucking limit with this shit. Because instead of reworking dog shit reactions to make them work properly, because God knows nobody is using Crystallize, nobody is using Superconduct, nobody used Electrocharge, nobody used fucking Burgeon, or even Hyperbloom in the current meta because they got all power crept. And so it's just like, yes, instead of reworking these reactions to make them usable, we're going to make it so that your characters literally cannot be played unless you pull these new ones.
still a ton of characters that people have been waiting on for years, like the Saritsa, who they will hold over your head for years to come. The normal reaction to seeing a character that you like in a story is wanting to use one of those characters for yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Maybe Genshin has conditioned you to quote unquote not want a character, but if you're free to play, most of the time that's just because you can't get that unit. Genshin has had the tools to create a long-lasting game, and now more than ever is a perfect time to deliver. The first of the new generation of gacha games are close to release, and Hoyo might miss their window to retain a large chunk of their player base.
I think that there's such a massive opportunity out there for all these new gachas coming out to, once again, lift more and more of a disgruntled player base. And I'm going to be real over here. It's actually baffling to me that the Wuwa developers, I'm going to call them out once again, have decided to take their foot off the gas pedal for basically everything in Wuthering Waves except for the story. They've taken their foot off the gas pedal in so many other aspects as all of this new competition is coming out. And maybe that means that according to their internal research or whatever, right, they don't fear much at all. Right? Maybe the Wuwa devs are extremely confident that there's nothing to worry about, right? But the thing is, yes, 3.0 is coming up. Yes, 2.8 is coming up. But the fact that they have been essentially phoning it in for the past 120 days doesn't really matter. Like, that makes the future release of 2.8 and 3.0, it doesn't really help the narrative over here. Because, guys, we've already said it. They've been phoning in the game's content outside of the story since version 2.5. This isn't some new occurrence just for version 2.7. This isn't like some wild new trend that has just occurred in the past version update. Before 2.7, it had already been going on for 90 days. 90 days prior to this. And that's the thing. At that point, what does it matter saying things like, oh, they're prepping for 3.0? Then why did 2.5 and 2.6 have no content? That's not a reason. Prepping for 3.0 is not a reason for 2.6 or 2.5 to have no content. It might be a reason for 2.7. It might be a reason for 2.8. But you want to know what the patch before Wuthering Waves 2.0 was? You want to know what the update 2 versions before 2.0 was for Wuwa? 1.3. One of the best updates in the history of the game was 2 patches before 2.0. So why are we going ahead and using the defense of 3.0's coming out? It's fine that 2.7 has no content. when 2.7 is in the exact same spot as 1.3. And yet, 2.7 has absolutely no content compared to 1.3. Literally none. Literally none. You got to stop making excuses in that situation. Because we have 1.3 as a record, again, of what a patch 2 versions before a big update looks like.
I could see Azure Permilia. Wait, actually, I don't know if I even want to talk about this game because most of the clips have chibi characters.
Fair.
Actually, you know what? Editor, keep that shit in there. Just keep it in there. Anyways, I see this title appealing to a lot of the Genshin audience due to the aesthetic, especially if they don't monetize the Pokeballs or whatever the capturing devices are called. If that game doesn't interest you at all, I don't blame you.
There are some designs in Azure Permilia that I'm like cool with, but there's so much stuff in there where I'm just like, yeah, if somebody saw me playing this in public, I'd have a panic attack, to be honest.
But Do at Night Abyss comes out very soon, and even if you don't like games like this, I encourage you to at least try it, because if you love gacha games, you do not want Hoyoverse holding a monopoly in this market for the next 5 years, because every single game that comes out in the future will have to give in to the predatory model that they push in their titles. Okay, this is a good one. Your word of the day is Wuwa. I have a video representation instead of a definition today.
Rambling. But if most plants are perfectly content to stay in one place, why does the tumbleweed hit the open road?
So let me know what gacha game you play.
I don't even know what that was. All right. That was a content drought. That was a content drought. And we are undeniably in the middle of one right now. So, yeah, overall, great vid by the Gacha DG2. Absolutely 100%. Really like the fact that he was kind of like looking outward to, you know, all the new games, all the new stuff like that coming out, and where companies in the present are currently just dropping the ball when it comes to overall potential, because I think we can't really deny at this point that that's literally what's taking place. So, yeah, that will be that for that one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. And once again, awesome bid by the Gacha DG2. Make sure you give him a sub if you haven't yet. Peace out. Alrighty, that was a fun one. All right, so unfortunately, I have some news to share, ladies and gentlemen. I still make guides. So what's likely going to occur is that I'm probably going to have to take a bit of an earlier day so I can go prep that guide and all that other stuff. Yeah, I also got a sponsor. To work on as well. So, yeah, it's a bit of a busy day, unfortunately. But that also means that, well, we had a deal that came in, so I need to go make some money. And don't worry, it's a sponsor that you'll all love. Or some of you, depending on your preferences. So, yeah, let me go ahead. Let me go see who I can raid right now. I'm deciding who to raid. Should I raid somebody that's playing Wuthering Waves or making Wuthering Waves art? Yeah, which one do I go for, guys? Who do I go for there? What type of art? There's nothing to do? Okay, I guess I guess we'll raid Cap and you guys can figure out if what you want to do from there. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really particularly matter too much, right? As a Cap viewer, do not choose Cap. Well, you guys can let me know how traumatized you are or aren't later. Oh, it's a bunch of half-naked men? All right, good luck, guys.